Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Nooner. I don't know why I'm looking. I have not worn a watch in years. Why am I looking at my wrist? It's quarter hair to the freckle. It's late. It's late. It's time for the Nerdrotic Nooner, which was supposed to air yesterday. But you're seeing the part of my office that is not completely jacked up. My entire life is upside down. My 20-something-year-old son moved back home. And his stuff is here, and my stuff from the office is in the outside. Life is fun right now. It's so fun, but yay, my son is home. Well, at least he'll be able to help out with the channel. So, to be in the early 20s again, at least he's got a home to come to. I didn't when I was his age, and believe me, I remind him every hour on the hour. So here is what we're going to do today. We're gonna it's mostly celebratory, except when we talk about Doctor Who, I guess. But I'm very happy. We've been trying to plan this forever. But Christian Basil from the Traveling Tardis podcast, who was kind enough to have me on, and a really good guy, big Doctor Who fan, is going to be joining us in a little bit, and we're going to talk a lot about Doctor Who. But I got to take care of some business first, like super chats from the Inquisition. So my apologies for not getting to those yesterday. I'm so sorry. And then I got a little present in the mail from YouTube, and it wasn't a cease and desist, which was funny because that was one of the comments on my Twitter. I said, I got a package from YouTube. They're all, it's probably a well-packaged cease and desist. And I thought that was pretty damn funny. That was a good one. You made me laugh. Mrs. Nerdrotic as well. Sorry, I downed a bunch of coffee before I started. And we also have to address some potential drama. And usually I don't address this stuff because I don't want any part of it. So when it comes to internet drama and people getting their feelings hurt over perceived slights or no slight at all, I try to address it, through a DM, like, hey, what happened? What's going on? Especially when it's a case like this. So I will preface this by saying I am a very fallible human being. That's what I am. And I am very new to this YouTube thing and getting a lot of messages that, quite frankly, the only thing that stresses me out about this job is not getting back to you guys quick enough or enough of you. It's impossible for me to do so. I know this, but I try anyway. And I fail sometimes, and sometimes I succeed. And part of it is I've tried to stream flow the information through my email. And if you're DMing me somewhere else, I don't know. I mean, I try to keep my DMs open to be accessible. I don't want to be non-accessible. Probably not a smart idea because I have DMs open in 3 different things and I can't get to all of them. So I'm probably going to shut down the DMs on Facebook, and I'm definitely shutting down the Discord. But I'm going to keep the DMs open on Twitter, but it's best if you email me. So I have been traveling for the last 3 weeks, and I just unpacked a couple days ago. So there's some people I've been trying to get on the show that we're trying to get back to. And apparently one of them feels snubbed. So they decide to go public about it. So I'm going to respond publicly. Usually I wouldn't do this. This isn't the way to do things. This isn't the adult way to do things. But so be it. It was done. Snowdub Entertainment and Megs both came. I joined a podcast with Jeremy, Geeks and Gamers. She had to have emergency brain surgery, and we helped her crowdfund quite a bit of money. And it went well, and I'm very glad the surgery went well, and she is healthy, and everything is great, and everything is spectacular. Then Comic-Con happened, and for me, Star Trek convention happened. But at the time when I was on the podcast, or live stream, I said, hey, I'll get you on. I didn't give a time frame, but I said, I'll try to get you on as soon as possible. Last time we talked, I said, hey, I'm traveling, but when I get back, once I get settled, I will get you guys on. Well, I am nowhere near settled yet, and it's going to be a couple weeks before I'm settled. So they decided to go public and say that they haven't heard from me again since I went on and helped them crowdfund for the brain surgery, which I'm not sorry I did. And I will do it for anybody who needs help. That's, if I can use this thing for good, I'm going to do it every time. But sometimes no good deed goes unpunished. So this all stems from, apparently, and this is what I read on the video and that I just found out today, that Jeremy was by the way, Jeremy had driven out to San Diego, had had very little sleep, ran around Comic-Con with me. Jeremy's awesome, by the way, and was going to drive back and go back and visit him. And apparently something happened, like some DM came through saying something to the effect of don't F my family or something like that. So I was under the assumption Jeremy was going to meet Snowdub and Megs. I guess it was just going to be Megs alone. Jeremy did the very smart thing of not going to meet her because of this message. I would have done the same thing. Actually, I probably wouldn't have gone anyway. But Jeremy's a nice guy. I wouldn't have gone because my wife would have set me on fire in my sleep if I went and met a 20-something girl by myself. Jeremy's cool though, and Jeremy's trustworthy, and he's a good guy, and he goes the extra mile for so many people. So he smartly, in my opinion, and again, I'm going off of what I read. He smartly, in my opinion, saw a red flag there and decided, I better not. And I guess things blew up from there, and we get a video. This is not how you handle these things. This is how things fracture the fandom menace. This does no good to anybody. And sometimes we miss messages, and I apologize for that. It's not I can speak for Jeremy on this. I'll speak for myself. We are in no way trying to snub anybody if we don't get back to you. We're just overwhelmed. I'm completely overwhelmed. So, and this also addresses a couple of other people who have piped up on Twitter and saying, I don't know what you did. I did to you. Nobody. I'm not mad at anybody except for some SJWs, Alex Kurtzman, any owners of franchises. I keep my eye on the prize. I'm pretty happy outside of that. Other than seeing some of my favorite things burn, I am pretty happy dude. So that's what we need to do, is keep our eye on the prize. If somebody needs to get, there is a million ways to get a hold of me. Gary@nerdrotic.com is the best. If you DM me on Facebook, my wife will see it and she will let me know. So here's the deal. Again, I can't speak for me, but I see red flags there. And then when you blast something out like this, it's just not cool. It's not cool, but you have every right to do it, and that's fine. Make all the videos you want about me, that's fine, but it was not intentional at all. And it's unfortunate because I was going to have them on. It was actually on my radar this week. So there you go. Sorry, folks. We have to start out with crappy stuff like that. But, and the thing is, I'm not mad. I'm not mad about it. And I'm sure, Jeremy isn't mad. Jeremy's believe it or not, he's a pretty understanding guy. But I can't speak for him on that. But as far as my name is brought into that, no slight intended. But certainly, now you can't make the soup, unfortunately. So there it is. It was done out of emotion. I understand that. Believe me, I deal with that a lot. But just to let you guys know, my private life, I have priorities. Number one is sobriety. Everything else is a distant second, including my family. Because if I'm not sober, I don't have anything else. Sobriety takes a lot of time out of my life. My family takes a lot of time out of my life. The channel, actually making content takes a lot of time out of my life. And I do desperately want to get back to every single one of you. So please don't think it's a slight. It's not. It really isn't. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing to forgive. Again, I understand they were upset. That's fine. But I don't forget. That's the one thing. There goes my see, my office is trashed right now. It's like blank. And yeah, and there's a big box I just got, which is very cool. I haven't even had a chance to go by my PO box. So yeah, that's it. And that's the final time I'll ever address that situation. So there we go. Okay. On to super chats. And this is going to be from the Inquisition, but it's going to kind of go a lot into what we're going to be talking about today. So I'll even show you guys the super chats. They deserve it. Share. I want to, God damn, this freaking blagging freaking screen float. There we go. Oh, there's Ryan Johnson. I don't want to look at him. Is that StreamYard? And that's the chat. Is that the one, or is that the one? Well, we'll figure it out together. There we go. There we go. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to start out. Oh, Kilroy was here. Hale, did you hear the CBS Viacom merger is a go? I did. And I will address that tomorrow because we have lots of inside information coming in and I can't make heads or tails out of any of it. All I know is another big corporation is made in big corporation America. All right, we're going to start out with one that I read, but I just want to read it again because I need to warn you all. Anthony Mata is warning us for just $1.99. Not just, I'm not saying it. I'm saying like, hey, we're getting this information for a low, low price. So thank you, Anthony Mata, for the $1.99. Nutella is people. It's still delicious, and I will still eat it on my biscuits. John Ronan for $2. Everyone check out Star Blades on Indiegogo, Gary's #1. Yeah, check it out. It's my #1, although I've never seen it, but it's my #1. Go for it. Guard Goldsmith for $10 US. Go guys. Now this was, Doomcock was with me for this one. And all hail Doomcock, by the way, who just passed 40,000 subscribers. And I think he's approaching 42. If you have not subscribed to my good friend and partner in crime, Doomcock, do that. I wanted to get him to 42 because 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. So if one of my Chris Persia, I know, could you put the link in? That'd be great. Thanks, buddy. Go guys. I mentioned you once I flew to the UK to watch The Return of Who. I argued against the PC move to switch genders, against canon, supported a Romana show. Thank you. Thank you. Yay. I'm not alone. No, you're not alone. And that's how we all found each other, right? I mean, because we all thought we were alone. That's why we're like desperately going places, after, especially Star Wars. So I wasn't like going to YouTube regularly to watch stuff. But after I saw The Force Awakens, I felt utterly alone. And I found Jeff, big old Jeff from World Class Bullshitters. 4,000 subscribers they had at the time I joined up. And they podcast every Thursday night, and I never missed it. Never missed it. And still don't miss it. Those guys rock. Jeff rocks. And Jeff is in love now. Isn't that nice? We love love. With Jesse Milestone. Yeah. And the reason I'm talking about it is because they can't stop making videos of them going camping and stuff. I wonder, like, do they have Twitch streams that we don't know about? I don't know. Inquiring minds want to know. Lightning Lord, Jay Williams to reprise music episode 11 through 9. Time travel? Possibly Lightning Lord. I want to travel through time. I want to go back to the dimension where Doctor Who is still good and Star Wars is good and Alex Kurtzman never heard of Star Trek, kind of before he took the job, I'm only not kidding at all. Joel Tamburo, do you think the type of writers these shows have is a cause for the problems? For example, on Star Trek Discovery and Who, there are no sci-fi genre writers, while the Orville's team is almost all sci-fi genre writers. Joel Tamburo, you are smart, you are intelligent, you have great taste in YouTubers, and you are correct, my friend. I hate to be this guy, but I'm going to be this guy. I've done videos on this very subject, and so has Doomcock, and so has Midnight's Edge, or maybe not Midnight's Edge, but I know Doomcock has done a video on the Star Trek side, and I've done a video on the Doctor Who side, as far as just looking into the writers of either show, and they have, on the Star Trek side, they have soap opera backgrounds, and on the Doctor Who side, they have soap opera backgrounds, and a couple of them are political playwrights. So yeah, that's all they have to hang their derby hats on. Thank you, Joel Tamburo. Trooper Bear FN 2525 Inquisition Retro T with Doomcock, Gary, and Harvey headshots. Like the one showed with the transporter beam effect, like the Star Trek movie posters of old. I love I love 80s posters. I hate bad Photoshop posters, which we get now. In my last video, you saw I showed the Empire Strikes Back painted poster that was the cover of the novel and stuff. It's so beautiful. I mean, it's gallery art beautiful. I love old sci-fi painted art from 70s and 80s. There's nothing like it, and fantasy as well. Thunder Robots for $5. Mr. Sunday Movies did a video review of a Droids episode, and it is in there. He suggests Rey was created in Droids, and the parallels he shows are plausible. I will have to watch that. And considering the depth of writing that went into Droids, which is still deeper than the writing that went into The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi, I would consider it. And it might be a more full-fledged character in Droids than in those two movies I just mentioned. Ryan, for £5. Isn't the public just burnt out with Star Wars despite Disney? That factors in. That is a major factor in this. I mean, the thing is, that's why you don't see. Listen, the creators at Disney, the people who own these franchises, think they had a little capital to burn. That's why they decided to lean into the politics, because they were riding high. It's kind of like a company when they have a bunch of investor money. All of a sudden, the lunchroom has like this crazy catering bar. That's the first thing to go once there's budget cuts. That's kind of what the politics were in entertainment. And now that things are running a little thin, well, we might hear their tune change a little bit, or the shit will just get canceled. And then the hardcore fans who were begging these people to stop, for the most part, are left with nothing. And that's your base. That is your base. And you're not playing to your base. You're playing to the normies. Normies are easily distracted and burnt out. They are easily burnt out. This is what differentiates a nerd from a normie. We can watch Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings, 7 times in 1 week. That's me, by the way. I'm referring to myself because I just did that, and not get tired of it. A normie can't watch 7 minutes of it and goes, oh, it's just a bunch of people walking, without understanding the greatness and the purity of that story. By the way, my world-class bullshitter brothers were talking a little shit about Lord of the Rings. I think we should debate. EFAP. And Mahler, I'm sorry, I'm not looking at my chat. I miss you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. He's probably got tired of me ignoring him in the chat. I wasn't ignoring him on purpose, though. See, listen, I am supposed to call Dave Cullen. I haven't done it yet. Because I need to sit down and have a real conversation with him. And I can never plan out long enough to have an hour to myself. That's not, a video. I know, whatever. I'm over it. Bruce Lombardo for $1.99. Have you read the Orville comic, New Beginnings? I haven't. I have it. And I made sure to pay money for it because I wanted to give them my money. I didn't want any freebies. And I will read it and review it on Nerdrotic Live, probably within the next 2 weeks, right after I review The Boys and Preacher, which I still need to do. All right. We are, no, there's still more. Psycho Dwarf for equal opportunity fan service. Anyone? I would like to see some Psycho Dwarf for $2. Thank you very much. Matt Joseph for $5. Doomcock, have you used the Dread digital code I sent while back via Harama Dayton on Twitter? Watched it yet? Inquiring minds want to know. Well, I've been very busy building robots. I will watch it as soon as possible. Thank you so much for the digital code. Sorry, that was a terrible Doomcock impression there. But Doomcock is busy. But I'll make sure, Matt, you have my word. I will make sure he watches one of the greatest comic book movies ever made, Dread, with one of the best genre actors to ever live, Carl Urban. Carl Urban is like the king of the nerds now. He's in everything cool. And I still think he would have made a great Thor. Okay? I'll stand by that. But everybody was saying that back then. Captain Spire for $5. Before he passes, Mel Brooks needs to make the movie and tick off all the SJWs. No one will be safe. It will be epic. If he can still direct, he'd be the perfect person to do it. Because I hate to be grim about this. He's at the stage of his life where he doesn't give two shits about anything. And that is the one great thing I've noticed about, elderly people that I admire greatly, is they're just so past hurting feelings and stuff like that. They're just, and it's not like they set out to hurt feelings. They're just done with the pleasantries. I kind of like that. Nicholas Horton, Doomcock remakes Barbarella. He did talk about honestly trying to make something that happened for £2, by the way. And I listen, the only person I would join him on that creative venture. I would try to get things going for him. I could probably get him some good actresses who might have been dancers at some point in their life. Yeah, I can help. I can help with that. Star Wars for Life. Oh, Star Wars for Life. I love Star Wars for Life. She is so brilliant. Jeremy's Instagram person. Hi, Nerdrotic and Doomcock. Great show. She is just one of the nicest people I've ever met. I got to meet her at Comic-Con. It was a pleasure meeting so many people from the Fandom Menace, you know, Jackson and oh man, so many other people, man. She was so cool. She got me a coffee cup, a Hulk coffee cup, which I will drink coffee out of very soon. Dreary Nitpicker for $9.99. You guys may not be religious, but you're doing the Lord's work. LOL. For so long, I thought there's something wrong with me, especially after I saw The Last Jedi. I'm so thankful you guys for you guys. I can't stop laughing, and we are thankful for you, Drury. We are nothing without you, believe me. And it's been an absolute pleasure hanging out and finding you people, finding everybody here. And knowing we're not alone. And you know, honestly, there's a lot of movements out there, but the one that's really making the difference on a very grand scale is the Fandom Menace. And I mentioned it in my last video, and I'm serious about that. Comicsgate has done its work, but Comicsgate, and they really did try. They did. I'm not blaming anybody there. That just the enemy they were up against was a not strong or tough, resolute, we'll say. The difference that the Fandom Menace is making is different, but it's there. You can see it. It's happening right now. It's all coming down right now. And I think they're just prepping us and tempering our expectations for episode 9. We'll have to see, though. We'll have to see. Maybe they'll start blasting out episode 9, everything pretty soon. We'll find out. Sam Whiskey for 99 cents. I appreciate the donation. And then he follows up with $1.99. Mars Needs Women starring Yvonne Craig. Yvonne Craig. I love Yvonne. Or I used to. Yvonne Craig is not with us anymore, but she helped me get through puberty. And then I got to meet her. And it was a great moment in my life. I recommend looking up Utah's homeless program. They put them fix up an old hotel and have social worker help them get their lives back together. Thank you, Lucius Saluya. That sounds like a great, that could actually work. And they do have things like that here, but there's so many of them that just don't want it. There is a ton of outreach programs here, like just more than you can count. And there's some great recovery houses here, more than you can count. But they take the kind, when you're homeless, it would be best to go into what's called behavioral modification rehabs. And I know it sounds a little scary, but that's what they are, and that's what they do. And they modify behavior that's horrifically bad. And it works. It worked with me. That's the only thing that actually got through to me. I had to go to one of those when I was young, when I was 19, stayed in for 6 months. It didn't take right away, but so much of that stuff stuck. And, it's behavioral modification, like, treat people with respect. I mean, it's just basic stuff. It's just going back to life school, and for some people who just didn't have it, didn't have parents and, and then they're mentally ill. There's all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of factors. Blacklist Universe, our good friend Mike S. Miller for the last one, $2. How did you like Lone Star? I love Lone Star. That comic is what I'm talking about. And I will do a full review of that on Nerdrotic Live. But, with the I've only read a few of the, all the Comicsgate comics. I've ordered a bunch, but I've only read like 3 or 4. I've read the first Jawbreakers, Lone Star. What else? I got to pick up the other ones I read, but those 2 I'll review, and I like them a lot. And they're just throwbacks. They're just comic books, and that's all we want. I'm not saying they aren't fun, and Mike is just a brilliant artist. If you Mike worked on the Dunk and Egg books, Game of Thrones covers. All right, so thank you, Mike. We are done with the super chats, so we can stop that right there. Hi, how's it going, everybody? Let's get to the chat here. See what you guys all got to say. I can highlight the chat. I kind of like that. Let's try it once. Oh, Mark Lazerth is here. Here we go. So I love how they can show the avatars in these things, but they can't show them on our stuff. So Jude Sellers, has anything been said about the deal with CBS other than companies have the rights to which companies have the rights to Star Trek? No, it's really up in the air. I've heard contradicting things from my insiders, like really contradicting things. Anywhere from Kurtzman's like, he's there, he's done, he's going to be in charge for a while, to he's done. And we don't fully know what's going on with the JJ movies. There's been a lot of talk about the Quentin Tarantino movie. Brad Pitt said he'd be in it. Which was pretty funny. But I'd still love to see it, but I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't. I'd like it to happen though. I think that'd be kind of cool. I think for a one-off, I think why not have Brad Pitt play Captain Kirk, have him drop a lot of F-bombs, and we get honestly, that would excite people more than anything that CBS is doing right now. So that's exactly why they won't do it. And believe me, it's a one-off movie. You never do another one again. You make a Quentin Tarantino 3-hour effing Spock. Who would you cast as Spock? George Clooney? Just get the cast from Ocean's 11 and make them a Star Trek cast. There you go. And that would be kind of cool. It'd be cool. What the hell? Why not? Star Trek's in a bad way right now. It needs some help desperately. Matthew Kadish, our good friend, writer Matthew Kadish, and friend of the channel, member of the Fandom Menace, and generally a brainy person. Gary, don't let the bastards get you down. We all love you. Plus, you have great t-shirts. LOL. Thank you very much. I don't want anybody going after Snow Dub. That was one concern I had. It's just, it was just a little video. It was brought to my attention. I felt it would address a couple of things that, it just, again, I'll repeat, fallible human beings. We try to get to, we are not blowing anybody off. That is the last thing I want to do. I wish I could get to all of them. Trust me, it's not that. And we're not mad at anybody. That's not it. And we're not trying to big time anybody. Believe me, behind the scenes, listen, I walk around the streets of San Francisco. Nobody knows the fuck I am. I got pulled aside at the Star Trek convention. Sure. But outside of that, in the casinos, no, I'm just Gary from a few years, Gary from 6 months ago. I'm the same. Believe me, Mrs. Nerdrotic keeps that shit in check. In order to live with your head in the sand, at first, you must be on your knees. David Icke. Oh, Modalicious. That's a good one. Thank you for the $5. That's so true. Great quote. Thank you. And thank you, Matthew Kadish, and Kilroy was here. Neon Visual, what's up for £5? Congrats on the silver play button. You're a good man. Keep it up. Yeah, and I'll show that off in a little bit. We're going to get Christian on here in a few minutes too. I want to get through a couple here, and then we'll do the play button, and we'll get Christian on. He's waiting patiently, but I didn't want him to sit through the super chats. Marty for 40 Canadian pesos. By the way, Neon Visual, it's good to see you, my friend. Thank you. Take me out tonight, Gary. Lots of drama all around here every day. Hashtag me too. LOL. Drama finds anyone who speaks their mind with integrity. Apparently doing that now is racist. It is. And I can't speak for Jeremy, but Jeremy did the smart thing. All right. Jeremy is a married man with kids, and people want to bring him down. And it's nothing personal against anybody else. But when a red flag goes up, listen, Jeremy's got to cover the ass he is attached to, his own. And I would do the same exact thing. And it sucks. It sucks. We got to be that way. But you don't know. You don't know. We see it all the time. And again, I don't talk about it or address it, but people do weird stuff. They try to get in your good graces just to troll you and all. I mean, it happens all the time. And usually I just ignore it, just ignore it. And that's mostly what we do. But yeah, Jeremy's, I think he did the right thing. And again, I would do the same thing. You're awesome, Gary. Loving the office upgrades. Well, thank you. They're Orville Nation. Thank you. You're going to see more of them. Right now, you're just seeing this because there's a big blank wall. But there's some like Lord of the Rings stuff that I've been waiting to put up. So I just need the time. So okay, it's time. Let's take a look at what YouTube sent me. I'll try not to cry. All right, here we go. So I got a box. Inside the box is some padding. We're going to take out the padding. And then we got a letter. Oh, and we got a little card saying, in case it gets damaged, call us. Congratulations. This will probably be the same exact letter that Matt got. I'm pretty sure. And that Jeremy got, and Young Ripa, and Mahler, and everybody, and Jeff and EBS. I don't know. Did EBS get? Did they get their silver play button? They should have. They've been 100,000 longer than me. You've just done something that very few thousand, I added that, YouTubers accomplished. You had an astonishing 100,000 people subscribe to your channel. We know the numbers on YouTube can get really big, but we hope that you don't lose sight of the reality behind the 6-digit number. Each and every person who has subscribed to your channel has been touched by what you created, inappropriately, I hope. They were inspired, challenged, and entertained, and sometimes not. You achieved this milestone with hard work, damn straight, perseverance, endeavor to persevere. If you know what movie that's from, say in the chat right now, because it's one of my favorite all-time movies. Endeavor to persevere. Don't cheat. Don't go to Google. And probably a healthy sense of humor too. You got it. What you've accomplished can't be taken away from you. Well, unless you're you. YouTube can actually take it away from me whenever they want. I just lost my place. And we'd like you to recognize you and all your hard work with the Silver Creator Award, a small token of our esteem and respect. Oh, there it goes. No, I'm just kidding. We know that you don't do this for rewards. I never said that. No, I'm just kidding. You do it because you have to drive to create and share because you found an audience. Who cares? Believe us when we say that we can't wait to see what you do next in the Fandom Menace. I wish they would say that. And it's all about the Fandom Menace, by the way. And 1 million subscribers may seem a long way off. It is right now, but you're closer than, well, I'm closer than I was before, than you think. And we're rooting for you. Congratulations. Yours, Susan Wojcicki. And then there's something handwritten here. It's some digits. She says, call me. All right, cool. I'm sorry, Susan. I'm a very happily married man. Very happily married man. All right, so here we go. Just kidding, Susan. Here he is. Yeah. Silver play button. Woo. Look at that. Never thought I'd get one of these. Oh, look, you can see my Christopher Reeve Superman right there. Or no, that's my Mego one right there. Yeah, you can see my Star Wars curtains in the reflection. So there it is. I'll try not to drop it. Thank you. You honestly, that's cool. That's cool as hell. YouTube, We have a love-hate relationship with YouTube, but I actually, I'm glad that they've never really messed with me, not too much. And the times they have, it's gone away. And for now, I think they do understand what they are. I think they have, they haven't been fair. They haven't been fair to a lot of people. They've been trying to do some funky things, and I would just hope, in this moment of, we're being nice right now, I would just hope they would stop and just be fair, as they should be, especially when it comes to speech. But everything else they do, listen, they take a piece of super chats. I understand that they offer the platform. Okay. There's ways around it too. I've never been critical of them for that. I was very critical about the Hangouts thing, and I still am. That was, especially when we're in this new era where they are talking about stuff, and they did make some headway with the copyright system, and that seems to have improved. So, and they have the membership thing, even though I haven't been given that yet, but that's fine. Whenever it happens, it happens. So this is cool. So, and that's because of you guys shouting me out, shouting me on Twitter, sharing my videos, coming in here for the live streams, hanging out, of course, the very generous super chats, supporting me on Patreon. And this is something I never expected to happen. I just started this hobby because I still wanted to talk about nerdy stuff, and I had nobody to talk to because I sold my comic store. I know it sounds very sad. And my wife got tired of hearing me bitch about, Star Trek. So, especially when she's such a fan. And we found each other. So it's very cool. So thank you very much. And let's get Christian on here, shall we? Let's get Christian on. Give me just a second. I have to get a link. I have to invite Christian. And this might be a little wonky first. I don't know if he's been on StreamYard before, so we'll see. But he is a professional podcaster. Well, he's done it for a long time. That's what I mean. He's like well practiced. So Christian, I don't know if you're watching. Here it comes, buddy. There you go. So Christian has the link. And once he joins us, we will go over the rest of the super chats, and we will be talking about Doctor Who. And this is he runs a specific podcast on it. So these are people in the know who talk about it all the time. I love Doctor Who. This isn't a Doctor Who channel, and it's not a Game of Thrones channel, and it's not a Star Wars channel. It's all those things channel. I like to cover a lot of stuff. I have a lot of interests. So, but Doctor Who is my favorite out of all of them. And there would have been a time that Star Wars was, but it's just been a long time since we got good Star Wars. I mean, I didn't see the prequels as a kid. I saw them as an adult, so they are very fresh in my memory. But man, I was happy for a while. There he is. Let me know when you're ready, buddy. Okay. He's coming in. You're coming in. You're in. What's up, Christian? Can you hear me?
Hello, all the Nerdrotic fans. How you doing there? Welcome. And my camera is a little...
That's all right. Do you want me to make you feel comfortable? I can make you feel comfortable.
There we go. I've knocked off everything on my desk, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Hello, everybody in Nerdrotic. Well, thanks you, Gary. Yeah, and please, I've been listening earlier. Please don't hold this against Gary. We were trying so hard to get together for the longest time, and this was like, hey, are you available? Yeah, I'm available. Let's do it. So
that's kind of how we got to do it. That's kind of how we do it. So, real quick, why don't you tell everybody about your podcast?
Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing me on. First of all, I have to start a little bit from the beginning. For those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Christian Basil, and I run a radio show on iHeartRadio and now CBSRadio.com called The Legend of the Traveling Tardis. We do a weekly radio show and podcast. The whole thing started just like you. You had a comic book store. I had bought a TARDIS like 7 years ago. And I took the TARDIS to conventions, and I started taking pictures with people, cosplayers and friends, and then it started with celebrities, and next thing you know, it's one of the most sought after little blue boxes right now on Facebook. By the way, congratulations on your milestone with YouTube.
Well, I thank you. I appreciate
it. Because I hit 32,000 subscribers with Facebook, and they told me congratulations. None of them are Russian bots, so I was happy to hear about that.
That was good.
So
yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so,
I can't say the same for mine, but we'll see. No, I know a couple of people in the chat are definitely Russian bots, but I still like them.
I love them too. I love anybody who's going to listen to us and then subscribe to us. I have no issue with that out there. But to make a long story short, I've been on a couple podcasts. I've been to quite a few conventions, including Hulanta, MegaCon, both Tampa Bay and Orlando, Florida SuperCon, and quite a few other places. And one day, I was the last podcast I was on with a friend named Ian Shaw. He runs Gallifrey Stands podcast in the UK. And what made it interesting is you had a UK representative and a US representative talking. The problem is, it's like with you, when we were trying to get together, that was a 3-hour difference. Him, it's a 5-hour difference. So we could never line up anything. And I departed ways. And my boss, Garrett Pomacher, runs a show called the Hanging with Web Show, which is the umbrella podcast of all the podcasts that we have, which includes The Legend of the Traveling Tardis. And he came up to me and he said, well, I think it's about time you got your own show. And at first I was like, no, I think I'm done with it. It's not going anywhere. And I'm glad he convinced me to stick with it, because we started the day before Jodie premiered. I think it was Saturday. And the first episode was to talk about what our predictions were for Jodie. And after that, we started just last year in October. I think that's when she premiered, if I'm not mistaken. And within 2 months, and I guess I'm just flaunting things now, within 2 months, he sends me, literally on Christmas Eve, he sends me a text going, congratulations, you're now part of iHeartRadio. We did it within 2 months. And then the following year, we became part of CBSradio.com. And I was just flipping out, just like, wow, this is, and each time we've gone to a convention and each subscriber that we've had, we've been adding on and on and on. And it's been an amazing ride ever since last year. And meeting a lot more people, meeting a lot more Whovians, and people hashtag becoming part of the legend. It's amazing to meet people out there and just, spread the Whovian love as best we can. It's the best way I can put it out there.
And we try. There's some of us who still try. And the thing is, the shape of what things are, I just got an email sent to me from somebody who was involved in or was talking about Gallifrey 1, which I've never been to. It's the California Doctor Who convention down in LA, and it's got about 4,000
I'm in the same boat with you.
Yeah, it's got about 4,000 people who generally go to this thing. So it's a little bit smaller than what the Star Trek convention was. Although that's about how many people were there, but I think there were supposed to be more people at the Star Trek convention. And for the first time, they're not sold out by now. They're usually sold out by now, and they're not. Now that there's factors involved. I will say that interest is generally low. Will I say it's at an all-time low for Doctor Who? Probably not, because we had the dark period. And I don't think anything will beat that unless we keep going the route we're going, which is not good for fandom. And, you and I had a conversation, I think it was right after I got back from con. I think I was like unpacking. And, or was it before? Might have been before. I can't remember. But, and I've mentioned it here, but, there was a way that the BBC could have put a vote of confidence behind Jodie, whether you liked her or not. They haven't exactly put a vote of confidence behind her. And I liked your suggestion. I don't know if it would have helped, but it would have shown that the BBC was confident in Jodie. And it was. What was your suggestion?
Oh, yeah,
that was me leading to you.
Oh, that was my. Yeah, it tells you how it's 10. It's 9 o'clock over here. That tells me how much awake I am. The suggestion was, first of all, I will say this to my dying day. I think this was the biggest mistake that Christian Nolan and the BBC have making as far as taking a year off. There was no reason, rhyme, or explanation for that. So I thought the best suggestion was that if it was going to be a rocky start, and last season, you know, everybody had their say in it, and I have my say in it, and I think I'm not as negative as most people think I am, because I am a big Whovian first and foremost, and whoever the Doctor is, I'm always supportive of. And maybe I don't agree with, you know, with everything that's going on, but I can, you know, it's still my show. First of all, if the show goes off the air, then my show is kind of like, you know, not doing too well. But I think the BBC and Chibnall should have been parading her around every convention: San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, Florida SuperCon, MegaCon, every convention. Because I think if people were sitting uneasy on the fence, and I know there's some Whovians that were, and I have a story about that at one of the other conventions I was at a while back, a couple of years ago, I think they should have taken her to all the conventions, and people would have gotten to see her, and people would have gotten to relate with her, get a picture with her, go up to her. And they, you know, I think that would have brought the morale back. At least, if anything, if they're going to take this year off, this is the time to show Jodie to the world and show her she can be a Doctor, and she is the Doctor. So I think bringing her out to other people to see her, and for her to talk to them, and to get the relationship going, I think would have done the series justice. So then when the new series premieres in 2020, now people have seen her, they're like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I was sitting on the fence, but I will give it a shot. And I think it was just a big mistake just to take her out of there. I think they should have ran at least another series. But that's just me. I have a lot of opinions on the show.
Yeah. Well, so do I. And they're not, well, they're popular with some. They're not popular with others. But the fact of the matter is, she never stood a chance when they decided to prioritize politics over everything else. I mean, like, she never stood a chance. So what I have observed over the last year was a curiosity and excitement, people willing to give it a chance, because if there's any fandom in the world that's going to give anybody a chance, it's going to be the Doctor Who fandom, and it still split it. So that takes a lot of hard work to do. Now, this is a fan base that, quite frankly, has been eroding for a little while. Now it's eroding from being at a previous high. So it had done something that I think Star Wars failed to do, and I think Star Trek failed to do. Marvel Comics has done perfectly, by the way, is getting kids. Doctor Who had gotten to the kids in America, which it could never crack before, and it did. And there were boys and girls, men and women, wearing Doctor Who stuff, sporting their Doctor Who stuff. And unfortunately, the BBC, I don't know why, treated it as a trend and didn't think it was something that could last. So they decided to, you know, they do the Doctor Who thing, they make changes, and I understand that, but some of the changes were, I think it was to keep Stephen Moffat happy. I don't know, and I don't know what the politics are, and it doesn't really matter at this point, because what's done is done. So they were taking they had built up the series to this high. Yeah. And then they started eroding. Then they took another break, which, you know, it's not like the only break was with Jodie. They started taking more breaks, and you can't survive here with that. I mean, that might go over there. I can't speak for the UK, but it doesn't work here at all. You lose a large chunk of your audience. As popular as Westworld was, it lost a large chunk of its audience by taking another year off. And I'm talking like 30%. That's a huge chunk of your audience that you cannot afford to lose. And you know, and now that they've taken this year off after such a bad series, and after what I saw at Comic-Con, which is a great barometer, by the way, to judge a fandom. And the one thing I didn't mention was I didn't see any guys sporting Doctor Who anything anywhere. Anywhere. Not a shirt, not a button, nothing. And, you know, I didn't look at every single person in the convention, but this is the kind of thing I look for. And it's part of the job. And I spent some time buzzing around the BBC booth
Yeah.
You know, and it never looked that quiet to me ever. There's usually a big old line. They usually have some spectacular exclusive. I mean, a couple of years ago, they had the David Tennant. I'm sure you've seen it. The sonic screwdriver. That's the universal remote, but it is a freaking prop. It is beautiful, and now you can't find it anywhere, and it's hundreds of dollars on eBay if you can find it. You can still find the 11 sonic screwdriver for pretty much cheap, but the Tennant one, forget it. You're paying $300, $400, $500 for it, and it was brilliant. And of course, I have one. It comes in a little case, and they didn't have anything like that. Nothing. I mean, they had some cute tchotchke stuff, and it just doesn't look like they're putting anything into it. Now, I don't, at this point, I want Chibnall gone. I do. And that's why I think the rumors kicked off so much excitement with a portion of the fans. Now, I am fully aware Jody has their backers, and the BBC has their backers. And I am fully aware that there's places that, they don't want the show to go away. Yeah. I understand that. I don't necessarily do either, but I don't want it to continue like this either, because it's just not fun to watch.
It's not fun. It did drive me insane. And I think the one episode that really just floored me, because it was what I called almost Bible thumping on the other side, was Arachnids in the UK. It was a Trump spoof who was playing a Trump character, talking about Trump with a suitcase full of Trump. And I forgot there were spiders in a hotel at that point, because I was watching this channel. I was watching my favorite show, and I told my friend, I said, listen, I don't want Trump marshmallows in my Doctor Who hot cocoa. I don't know what the heck it's doing in here. But I mean, in the States, if I wanted Trump hate, going across the channels, I've got CNN, I've got MSNBC, I've got DIY, I've got HDTV, I've got Animal Planet, I've got Food Network. Everybody is on that bandwagon. ABC, NBC, CBS, all of them are on that bandwagon. I said, I don't want this in here. And somebody had mentioned, well, Christian, how would you rewrite it to where it would have been, Doctor Who appropriate, the way that you see it? And I said, very easy. Instead of being anything about Trump, the Doctor is taking her companions. Graham goes, you know what? We need a vacation, Doc. We have to go to a vacation. So she takes her to like this paradise hotel. It's the grand opening, and a bunch of rich people are going over there. And there could have been a joke, something where the Doctor's holding up her psychic paper, and the woman at the desk is going, that says John Smith. And she goes, oh, wait a minute, shakes it and goes, Joanna Smith, or something like that. And they find out that there are all these spiders that are in the hotel that are crawling around and trying to hurt the people. But she later discovers that through their disregard for the environment, they were burying it under this hotel that all these people have caused, that they had created these spiders that were going to kill them. Now the Doctor has a dilemma whether to kill these spiders and save the humans, or is this the humans' fault for creating these spiders in the first place, who had no choice in the matter. They were a victim of circumstance. And at some point, the Doctor has to make a decision. The spiders attack, and she decides she's going to save the humans. And she finds out that at one point that the spiders, if they ever make it out in the UK, it's the end of the planet. These spiders are that bad. So she finally does the thing where she gets them into that safety deposit box, which that still throws me off every now and then. She locks them in there, and they're locked in, and she finally has to see that the mother has trying to escape, and then the hotel manager gets out the gun and shoots him. And at the very end, the Doctor's defeated, kind of defeated. She's like, I had to wipe out this species, but to save the human race. And at the end point, Graham's in the TARDIS going, hey, Doc, I'm done with vacations. Why don't we go somewhere else? And at the very end of the episode, you see the back of the hotel, and crawling out is this little baby spider. End of the story. There's no Trump. You got your message across. And I think this is good Doctor Who writing.
It's better than we got.
Exactly.
And that was the turning point. That episode was the turning point. Believe me, people were like on the fence, and you could see and that was the very interesting thing. So I did this thing on my channel. If you guys are new here, this is how I started my channel. Is I started going live after TV shows. So I didn't used to do videos at all. I used to do everything live, and we just go like a Talking Dead, but for shows that people didn't do Talking Dead for. So like Preacher, The Tick, Venture Brothers. Every time it'd air, we'd jump on. Well, the earliest show I did it with was Doctor Who, and like they have no views, and that's fine. But you could see on the ones I was doing, I was live. Okay, so I got my UK broadcast, so I'd be live right after it aired in the UK, and I'd go live. And I'd have a ton of people from the UK in there. And I maybe I was alternate programming to some people, fine. But people were pretty much split. They were split. When she started, they were like, the first episode, people were like, the episode was okay. It was all right. She's all right. Everything's all right. We'll see what happens. It wasn't like, it started going down a little bit because they started mixing in a little more agenda. But like the fourth episode, man. The fourth episode.
Yeah, it would just like a bad taste.
So many people instantly. And that's when it started. I mean, you can look at the ratings. It had a little rescue, and then and then the States, it steadily went down. And that's when you lose people. Like every single time you do that. So hearing that they're going to be doing that more now, I don't know if they're going to be talking about the president, but they're still going to be getting very political, at least in one episode, which is, I mean, listen, it's backhandedly directed at our politics still. And it shows that they've learned nothing, and they're going to take a year off to do it. It's like, all right. I mean, I can't say we didn't warn you for a year. They get what they get at this point. Well, they have the same writers. They have the same writers.
I think, and I thought it would have been a great idea. I've always had a fanfic of like the Doctor going to the White House and finding out the president is slowly dissolving, and finding out that also the Declaration of Independence is sitting there dissolving too, and that she has to go back in time and find out what's going on. I do like the historical.
Yeah.
I even thought Rosa was really good, but what the heck was that bad guy?
I hated Rosa. I just thought it was superficial.
Here's the thing I would have changed in the story. Instead of having Crossco, who I think is the worst bad guy in Doctor Who history right now, because there was no backstory, there was nothing that made sense. He was locked in the same storm cage as River Song, and he can get wiped out. He gets taken out within 2/3 of the episode by Ryan.
Oh yeah. Well, the storm cage must not be that bad. Yeah, I still want to know the answer to the question: where did he get his vortex manipulator, and what did he have to do to get it? He was making insinuations there.
If we had some kind of backstory as to why he had his beef the way it is, maybe. And I even like the idea that I was pushing, that I thought he may have been the monk, but I'm like, the monk is 10 times smarter than Crossco. And that was another episode that somebody asked me, well, what do you think would have been a better idea? And I said, what would have been a cooler idea? Instead of having a bad guy at all, she lands the TARDIS, and she goes, and she does the same thing that Eccleston did to Rose and Adam. She goes, go out there, visit whatever, take a look around, check it out. And Ryan accidentally steps into the bus and sits down in the chair where Rosa was supposed to sit. Now Ryan has screwed up the timeline royally and has pretty much thrown a monkey wrench into the civil rights. So what happens is, in what I would have loved is that in an alternate story, there's this, I don't know if you remember the story, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead from Hamlet.
Yes.
Yeah. Something like that happening, where the Doctor and her team now have to manipulate events around what Ryan just did without interfering with what's going on, to make sure Rosa sits down in that chair.
Yeah.
Then you wouldn't need a bad guy.
No, you don't need a bad guy in that one. That's the one where you can live with circumstance, although I don't think it should have ever been made. I think you should stick to the British history myself, but that's just me. But if you want to tackle that, listen, that's the problem though, is you just told me a better story. I heard better stories from my chat. It wasn't their big concern. And this is, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer about this stuff. I really don't, but I'm going to show you a picture of the writers for this season. Hang on. This is for the people out there, and you'll look at some familiar faces. You look at some very familiar faces because these are all, hang on, this tweet right here. This should pop up. I got the wrong way. Hang on. I got the wrong window. It's the same goddamn writers that they had last year. Like every single one of them's the same. So this big new direction, what is our definition of insanity? We're doing the same things over and over again. And yeah, it's the same people. And I did a video about each and every one of these people and how they were not really set, except for Pete McTeague here, who like McTee or whatever his name is, who did Kerblam, is the only guy who's like done stuff in the past that's genre. None of these people had done anything in genre. They political playwrights and soap opera, EastEnder stuff, which, I mean, you can mix stuff up, but either Chris Chibnall's either not being the leader he needs to be, or maybe he's not right now. We will definitely discuss that in a second.
But I don't care about the color of the skin of anybody who writes. The thing is, can you write sci-fi? And I think when it comes down right to it, if you throw everything on the Bunsen burner, Chibnall is a great drama writer. He's not a good sci-fi writer, or at least he's not a good sci-fi showrunner.
And I don't care about the color of the skin of anybody either. I just want him to write sci-fi. And there's plenty of qualified people out there, and I know what you're saying. There's plenty of qualified people out there who are not white that they could have gotten to write sci-fi. So I don't think it was that at all. I think it was what's your philosophy on life? We'll say. I'll be nice.
It's a possibility, but I'm just like, can you write sci-fi? Can you put can you write the way that Doctor Who was beholden and loved when I grew up and bring it into 2020? If you can do that, yes, you deserve to pen an episode of Doctor Who. Stephen Moffat was a brilliant writer. There's no question about that. He's brought on into the new era of Doctor Who monsters that are unforgettable, the Weeping Angels, the Ood. I mean, those creatures. And they did it. The other thing that do we have more time? But one of the things that I hold against Chibnall, which I truly was upset about, is that he went full on revamp. No old monsters, no classic stuff, no nothing. And I'm like, listen, you have 54 years behind you of stuff, of great stuff, and you're not going to tap into one of those episodes, not one of those monsters? Hey, the monk, the Rani, Romana, they're all back there. How about the Valyard? Do you want to revisit that? I mean, you have tons of stuff, but if you're going to redo the whole thing, you better have something really good that wasn't there beforehand. God, what's the Candyman doing? Come on, anybody could have been.
Dude, listen. The only thing I can think of is, like some of the Doctor Who rights issues are kind of fucked from the early days. I know you're aware of it, but people in the audience might not be aware that BBC didn't think anything of these things in the early days. So the Daleks, the rights to the Daleks are split between BBC and Terry Nation, and that's not the only character. There's an article I've actually done live streams on going over it where there's just major copyright, but I never saw the Valyard in that, and I've never understood why the Valyard has not been brought back. And we did a podcast on that, and it frustrates me because he is one of the coolest villains ever and made the Sixth Doctor. I love the Trial of the Time Lord. I love it. And I've never understood why they don't bring him back. And
it's kind of hard, I think, because remember with the Trial of the Time Lord, they actually wrote the episode to end. One of the endings was that the Six and the Valyard were going to take each other out.
Yep.
I really think, and because Michael Grade had for what my friend says, a hate boner for Doctor Who. I mean, they were trying so hard to try to kill it, but the fan base, why the fan base? I think it should have taken a break. It should have come back and, hey, we may want to rethink things. And there were stories about who the Eighth Doctor would have been, and what stories they would have brought back. I meant what was it, series 27? Those stories that kind of just got lost in time when they were thinking about Ace becoming a Time Lord and such like that. They've only revisited now in Big Finish audios, but I meant the BBC, I think, was just going like, there's no other way, there was nowhere to go with this, and they just wanted to sweep it under the carpet. It was too much money to spend on sci-fi. Let's get rid of it for a while. And maybe that was the right decision, because if this decision was made to end it then, and it's back now, then my favorite TV show of all time has spanned 54 years and is still on the air. How many other shows can say that right now? Star Trek barely can say that. What other TV shows, sci-fi, or any
that aren't
shows,
like the super soap opera-y, like nothing?
Exactly.
Zero.
Nothing.
Or a talk show? No, they can't.
Right.
They can't. Nothing. Doctor Who was the first fandom with little kids setting up 8mm or 16mm films to catch like 1-minute clips of their TV show with no sound, just so they could rewatch it for a minute with no sound, just because they love. I mean, like, that's what us old nerds used to do. I used to take my cassette recorder and record, like, when Superman the movie was on TV. I would sit there, pause it for the commercials, and have an audio adventure of Superman that I could listen to, because there was no VHS or anything back in my day. So that's how nerd culture started. And now we're at this point where everything's taken for granted. Fans are taken for granted. We're going to use things as a political platform and completely crush everything. And then people wonder why people get upset. And when people get upset, for one, most of them don't listen to what any of us are saying. I just assume that because most of the comments I get on my video that are, accusing me of something are people who didn't watch the video. I get comments from people who watch the video, and then I get some pretty constructive stuff out of that, to be honest with you. And I listen to it. And you'd be surprised how much of the civil criticism I get. It's pretty good. I like it. I mean, it's, I enjoy that.
Well, you and I are now on the media platforms, and I have a lot of friends who are on there, and they always get discouraged or disenfranchised. It's like, I got my hate mail, and I said, first of all, if you got hate mail, you've made it.
That's great.
You're here.
Yeah,
that's great. So you do one of three things with the hate mail. You read it and throw it away. You read it and take the constructive criticism that it's giving you, and then you improve yourself. Or 3, if it's that kind of hate mail, you call the authorities.
Yes,
that's all you can do with hate mail. And the same way, but we're also in an existence that I've never seen before in the social media platforms, and it's really disturbing where now they're going after the fans.
Yeah.
Even if you have a legitimate criticism. And if I can tell this story, Gary, I actually was doing a panel at one of the conventions in South Florida. And I have a very interactive panel, and usually I'm asking, okay, how many of you are happy to see that Jodie was going to be the next Doctor? I think it was just the year before, and a lot of hands went up. And I'll ask people, okay, does anybody have any concern about Jodie? None of the hands went up. After I was done with everything in the talk, 2 women came up to me, and they spoke to me in confidence and said, Christian, we wanted to put our hands up that we had a concern, but we were worried what people would say to us. And I was like, do I really live in this world now where people who have a legitimate criticism are going to get railroaded? And how does that deal with the fandom? I mean, how does anybody think that humiliating or trolling the fans is going to keep them going? So when I spoke to the girls, I said, listen, you have a concern, but I'm going to entreat you. I want to invite you. If nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to invite you to watch Jodie, because I'm going to watch Jodie, and I'm going to watch her with new eyes like you are. And if you enjoy her, if you have a good time, more power to you. And I hope I enjoy her the same way you do. If you don't, you at least gave it a shot, and that's all that anybody can ask for. That's all that anybody can do. And if you still don't like what's going on, we give it a try. She'll regenerate in 3 to 4 years. I'll see you back when she's done.
Or sooner. We don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know. So let me
I don't want to be part of that.
let me get we will address the rumors, or just if you've heard anything, your opinion, no opinion, whatever. Let me get to a couple super chats here, and then we'll discuss the rumors.
There we go.
If and for what they are. Orville Nation for $2. Again, thank you for the super chat. I did
too.
Yeah,
I've been trying to read as well.
There is no Star Wars fatigue. It's Disney fatigue, says Motolicious for $2. I can agree with that statement, Motolicious. I think it's more than. I think Star Wars will be just fine if, and so would Doctor Who and a lot of things if they weren't being run so poorly right now. Matt Joseph for $5. Do you collect original movie posters? Aren't they great? I have a large collection and reopening my older single screeners theater soon. Oh, that is cool. Where is it, Matt? I want to go. I've always wanted to own a movie theater. I listen, I've wanted a castle on a hill too. I'm not going to own one, but I would always love a movie theater to put a comic store in front.
You have a comic store with a castle.
Yeah, with a castle and a movie theater and a little rainbow at the top and some unicorns that poop ice cream. I can't collect posters because I would require wall space. So I don't.
You don't have, well, you have that wall space. I got to show you, and I'm just going to turn it. That is my kind of Doctor Who collection right there, because if any further, first of all, I will go dead broke. I'm trying to actually save up money for all the Big Finish that's coming out now that I can't, have to mortgage the house with. But I can't,
I just buy, I buy the really nice ones. I download the rest. I got the subscription. I think I got the expensive one. But it's impossible to keep up. God damn, I know they're all nice. I have episode 1 through 176 on digital, but I'd love to own them physical. I would, but it's in Big Finish. Like they're putting out, they just put out 4 Big Finish dramas when we started this podcast. They just finished 4 of them. More 10th Doctor and 4th Doctor adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get to a couple more here. Ciao from Roma. Thanks, Gary. You make Italy even better. You're in Roma, Adam Child. Well, what are you listening to me for? Go enjoy. Go to the Colosseum. I was in Sicily a couple months ago. It was beautiful. I want to go back. Thank you for the $1.99. Demon Synthwave for £2. Hey, Gary, did you get my Nerdtronics pick? No, I didn't. I'll have to go look. Demon Synth. I apologize. I will look. Brave Star movie needs to be made, says Motolicious for $2. Yes. Anything Motolicious wants made, I say yes. Last one we'll read for a second is Sir Ruin of House Roundhead. Check out the new trailer for the Dark Crystal series that comes out on Netflix August 30th. It looks great. Also, Carnival Row comes out August 30th too. Sir Ruin of House Roundhead. I'm actually very curious about Carnival Row. If it isn't inserted with 2019 wokeness, I will probably like it. It looks visually pretty damn cool. Dark Crystal, hate the name Resistance, but my wife's friend is working on it. Plus, it's made by people who made Farscape, so I'm probably going to like it. There's a good chance that I don't think Dark Crystal is going to be woke, and I think it'll be good, and I'll probably like it because I love the movie, and it had one of the greatest soundtracks of all time.
How can you woke the Dark Crystal? I'm sorry.
Oh, God, I know. They might,
how?
I'm a sexy. I'm going after the Dark Crystal. Yeah, they'll do something. Gelfling. That's the only time I'll ever do that. I'm just kidding, people. Sam Whiskey, $4.99. Hey, listen, Netflix will figure out a way to do it. If anybody could do it, Netflix can. I have faith. Sam Whiskey for $4.99. Yvonne Craig started in the 1967 movie called Mars Needs Women. Sam Whiskey, I did not know that. I was thinking of Mars Needs Moms. Maybe I got it mixed up. She will always be my Batgirl and enjoy. Sam Whiskey, Yvonne Craig is my Batgirl. She is my OG Green Orion girl. She is set the template for my puberty. She did. She did. I mean, like the Mrs. Nerdrotic. I'm sorry that you're guesting on this, but Mrs. Nerdrotic said publicly that William Shatner is the embodiment of her sexual awakening. Well, Yvonne Craig is mine. There it is. Alan Massey, congratulations for $10. Thank you, Alan Massey. Thank you very much. All right, we're gonna get back to the super chats, but and again, address with what you're comfortable with addressing. And I want to remind the audience that I'm free to say whatever the hell I want on my channel. Thankfully, I mean, unless YouTube doesn't like what I say and then they demonetize it or make it unavailable. So far, they have not had a problem with that. But You know, there are people who are Doctor Who fans, been there their whole lives. They have their whole channels like wrapped up in the existence of Doctor Who, and that's not a bad thing to do because, God, you know what? Someday I'd love to not be talking about agenda and politics, and would love to just talk about Doctor Who. I could just old Doctor Who. I could talk about old Doctor Who the rest of my life and not be bored.
Yeah.
That would be fun. You know, that would be fun. But unfortunately, that's not the way things are right now, and that's not the fans' fault, by the way. And we are where we are. So we got some rumors over the weekend. A couple things. Tell me what you either know, don't care about, and your thoughts on some of the excitement that brought on.
I'll level you out on this. When it comes to rumors, I don't care. It's not that because I want to see it firsthand. However, in this particular rumor, the response was by the Radio Times and not the BBC. And I'm like, oh, okay. You got the Radio Times to say that this is all rumors. Why don't you come out and say it, or even go as further? Or maybe that's their way of saying we don't acknowledge this. This is just a bunch of garble. But usually when, for some, what am I trying to say? This, for some speculation, there's some slight truth in everything. And, I would think that BBC would have called Jodie and Chris and said, hey, go on Twitter real fast, just give each other a hug and just say, nope, this is not true. This is not what's happening. And it was Radio Times who came out and said it. Now, like I said, unless something happens, I don't care. It's just a rumor. And we posted it because it became a big talking point on the Traveling Tardis on our Facebook page. We addressed it and said, listen, we know about what's going on, but as far as we're concerned, it's a rumor. And that's all we're going to say. But we know it because everybody's talking about it. We wanted to start a discussion about it and think of what you think about it. But that was it. In fact, on our radio show, which we recorded just right before I came on this show, we addressed it that it was just a rumor. But it's interesting. I mean, if you want to silence the criticism, it's not helping what you just did. You should come out, BBC, hey, this is the official announcement. We don't know what anybody's talking about. Jodie and Chris are doing just fine. We don't know what's going on. But that's that. We're working. We're almost done with 2020. Move on. And that's not what happened.
Nope. And that's so I love rumors. I'll talk about them. I can, but that's all they are. I will say that the two people that I know were reporting on it, I believe in completely. I like their work, and I would never doubt them. They've never given me a reason to doubt them. And as I've stated before in previous podcasts, just like you said, there is a very easy way to shoot this down. And CBS tries to do it to me and Doomcock and Midnight Zed all the time. And they, roll out Alex Kurtzman for a podcast interview. We'll roll out Chibnall for a podcast interview. I'm sure they have one in the can somewhere that they could have put out. Like you said, Instagram picture, easily solved. It didn't even have to be Chris Chibnall and Jodie together. It could have been just a set photo thing because they were filming Sunday.
Yeah, here we are filming. I don't know what you're talking about. Everything's fine.
Sunday. That picture of the writers that I showed you, that was from the 4th. So that was a few days prior. But since then, there has been nothing that I can find. Okay, there might be something I missed. Okay, I'm not perfect, but I looked on the Instagram. I looked every Doctor Who website I could possibly think of, everyone that regularly reports on Doctor Who. I unfortunately went to Reddit for a little while, and I have seen nothing. There's been nothing. There was the Radio Times article, and that was it. And that is interesting because the BBC doesn't have to acknowledge it at all. All they had to do, like I said, release a picture, a statement going, filming for blah, 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 just completed, and Jodie and Chibnall will be back next week for promotion. I mean, like something.
Okay. Or it could also be that the BBC is just saying, basically, this is not even us. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not even worthy of posting.
And that's
just a possibility. It's just like, well, we'll let the Radio Times put out this article. However, to me, it doesn't quiet the hater and the trolls. That kind of just gives them a little bit more defensive. So why aren't you guys saying anything? Why aren't you guys saying anything? Like I said, I'm not even. I'm
There's two schools of thought, and you know, the thing is, though, I mean, that's why people gather to talk. Is about these rumors. I mean, nobody has to believe them. I mean, that's fine. You don't have to. Nobody. I'm not hanging my hat on whether it's true or not. And I didn't do a video on it because I really like to have an article. I don't need to be the first to break anything. That's not what I do here. I'm reaction. I'm opinion, and that's kind of what you are. I mean, you guys are fun. You want to keep it tucked, but I will never hold it against anybody, and I've done it in the past, and I'll do it again. But with this one, I don't know. I felt like I wanted to hold back because I did think something was going to happen. I did, but I hadn't heard a peep from my people. So I've got people who will chime in all the time with Doctor Who stuff. They want me to make videos on every article, and it's like I can't. I try, but I don't want to make a video off a. I made one for the Cybermen. It did do very well. I'm like, see, I can't make one on everybody, on everything.
Well, I mean, how many times has regular news, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, MSNBC, have they reported something and it turned out to be completely wrong?
All the time?
Yeah, exactly. So do you want to be that guy that puts out something and says something? But we did put it out and say it's a rumor. Don't believe all you have to say.
But the people reporting on it were saying that too. Like, even, the Tardis zone, he was saying it was a rumor. And, he got it from his sources, but he was saying it was a rumor. Doomcock said it was a rumor. I think that's safe enough. And it's just like, hey, let's talk about it. The thing is, it stirred up a lot of excitement. It did, because there was nothing going on. And that's partially
there's no news. Yeah, exactly.
No freaking news because you took a year off. And while they're shooting, like, how many episodes do we actually know anything about? Couple, 3, maybe 4, and you have to dig to find out, by the way.
Right. Let me give you an example of my thought process on this, because remember when the video of Jodie leaked with the first picture, the first video of Jodie being the Doctor leaked out. Now, I won't say who my friend is, but I said, you know what? Is it possible that this could be a leak that the BBC wanted to say it was a leak? And like I said, I tried to stay away from the conspiracy theories, but we do know people do this. Would you rather release a trailer, or would you rather release a hidden, a leaked footage to get people's attention? And most people will go with the leak footage as opposed to just a regular old trailer. Oh, we weren't supposed to put this out. Now everybody's scrambling around to find this trailer, trying to share it with everybody that they know, and saying that. And what ended up being the first video that we saw, the leak trailer. It wasn't anything else but that. So I was like,
then we got that Pepsi commercial, whatever the hell it was, with the thing swishing and taking the pizza and all that. I experienced that. Listen, if you're in the Fandom Menace for any second, you've seen them. Companies have put out stuff to run at the flagpole to see who salutes. They'll leak. Exactly. I mean, the Access Media right now, they are nothing but they're a tool, an extension for Disney and CBS. Their articles are practically written for them in some cases. And when they're not being written for them, they're taking them from Variety and Deadline and just rewording them a little bit, repurposing them and citing them, which is perfectly legal and fine to do. And God bless you if you can do it, but it's not original. And there's been nothing. Like the Cult Box had that one image of them doing reshoots, and I couldn't make out what the hell was in there, but there was a lot of conjecture over it. But there was the talk of the one episode that's going to take place in the concentration camp. Yay. And then there's the Jadoon coming back. And then there was the Rose rumors. I don't know about those. I think if Rose was coming back, they would tell everybody. I think they would want to excite everybody about that. They're like, we're bringing back Rose. Yay. That's
maybe because what happened with the Missy Master and them leaking that John Sims was going to come back. A lot of fans were upset. They were like, this would have been better a surprise than just.
That wasn't their. I don't know if that was their fault. That rumor was around from day one. I want to talk about another rumor that turned out to be true. That one was out there forever.
But it did kind of spoil that impact, though.
Sure, it did.
that was.
But I mean, Rose coming back, I think this show desperately would need something. I don't know if she is coming back or not. We'll see. We'll find out. Possibly with the I don't care. I don't want her coming back in the series. I don't want that being tainted, in my opinion. But we'll see. But the rumors excited a lot of people, and it was the only thing we're talking about. And this is why you can't take a year off of your show, especially when. Listen, it wasn't successful. I know so many people want to hang their hat on the first 2 episodes. It wasn't successful. A split fan base is not a successful show. And yes, it's a split fan base for the ones who are still around. And I'm speaking of the States. Okay. I don't know about the UK. I mean, that's where the main, but I'm talking about where I live. Interest is not high. And that's bad because there's more of us. And you want us being into Doctor Who. You don't want us controlling it. For God's sake, no. I don't want any American ever having any say creatively other than making it good and making it very English again. But
weren't you the one that said Peter Dinklage should be the Doctor?
Yes. I said the one exemption I will make is if you're trying to bring back if you want to get fans like normies, Game of Thrones fans, you make Peter Dinklage the Doctor. He'd be freaking brilliant. He'd be brilliant. But they won't. Listen, I know what they're going to do for the next Doctor. I know what they're going to do for the next showrunner. I've already made the predictions. And when they're that predictable about stuff, that's not good because I shouldn't be able to predict what your next Doctor, well, maybe not next Doctor, but your next showrunner. Come on. We'll see. I've always been of the belief. I don't think Chibnall is long for this world, no matter what. I have always thought he would. This is just my speculation. He'd be out after this season. Because I do believe the BBC wanted, and there was a lot of rumors about that, not just one from somebody that they wanted a series out this year, that they really did, and it was Chibnall who said no, I couldn't do it. So I don't know what was behind that. They just got a big influx of money though from HBO Max. They got a lot of money from that.
If you don't mind me, let me explain my take on Chibnall and. Jodie, because for your fans who may not have heard my show or my take on it, I'd like to explain it just a little bit, if you don't mind me.
Not at all.
I don't think that Jodie is a bad actress. I think she can play the Doctor. I don't think Chibnall is giving her the means to be the Doctor. And we've had this talk about, and I said, one of the things that I want to see in Jodie that I have not seen is the space god. When we first saw Christopher Eccleston, he's over top the Nestine consciousness. He goes, "I am talking," and that's when I knew the Doctor was in the room and his presence was there, and I saw the space god. When David Tennant is in front of the Sycorax and he's saying, "This planet is defended," boom, I knew he was right away. It took a while for me to hit Capaldi, but he finally did it in Flatliners when he tells the boneless, this planet is defended. Now, finally, Matt Smith, when he goes up to the Atraxes and he tells them basically run. That's when I saw the
first episode too, which is still its best.
Right, and I have not seen it in Jodie. It's not that she's not capable of.
Sorry, I disagree. I don't think she has the range. I don't think she has the range of charisma. That's something you're born with. It's not something you can learn. It's something that's embedded in your soul. There are tons of women who have it. I just don't think she is one of them.
Well, let me address this to you, because this is where it gets weird for me. First of all, somebody asked me if there was going to be a female Doctor, who would you play, and who would be it? And I said, well, Class is out. I want Catherine Kelly. I don't know if you ever saw Class.
I watched, unfortunately, every episode.
But that scene where she's going, "I am war itself." Oh my God! I was like, "You're not the Doctor? Why?" That scene really opened my eyes, and the way that she handled herself. And I think people, I don't know, can we curse on?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. She drew the line. Because she was playing Quill, she was more bitchiness, but you can draw the line. The Doctor doesn't have to be a bitch. The Doctor just has to be the space god and commanding at that moment of what's going on around her. And here's the thing: I saw probably the worst sci-fi movies I've ever seen, Attack the Block. I don't know if you remember that movie. It has the guy from the new Star Wars whose name eludes me, but it also had Jodie Whittaker. And I watched it for Nick Frost. I saw this trailer for whatever channel it was on, and they said, "No, Nick Frost is in this, so I got to watch it." And it was just a horrible movie, and I really didn't even like Nick Frost. He was playing this like druggie, and I was just like, he's not even funny in this movie. And I ended up, it was one of those movies. It's just like when you want. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was showing off Quill.
I thought something happened there. When you, when you want the cast of the movie to just go, when it's that bad, it's just like But I ended up watching it and sticking out for Jodie because she was the only character I liked. And she was doing performances in that show, in that movie. I actually said openly, I said, well, if they ever go female, Jodie Whittaker is not a bad idea. She wouldn't be bad. Well, I said it, so I'm probably being blamed for it now. So everybody's going on your super chats going, oh, get rid of this guy. He doesn't know. But
Jodie no, people are free to say what they want here and disagree and be as wrong as possible. I'm just kidding.
She can do it. Yeah, exactly. But that's my take. But Chibnall is not giving her the means to do it.
Well, he's her buddy though. I mean, she worked with him on Broadchurch, right? I mean, like she just listen, like I said before, it's an unfortunate thing. Charisma is not something you learn. It's something you have or you don't. And there's tons of actors who work in Hollywood who don't have any charisma, but they generally don't get cast as a lead or they don't keep it for whatever reason. They don't. Taylor Kitsch, great example. People, the ladies love Taylor Kitsch. Friday Night Lights. He was in John Carter. I liked him in John Carter, but the guy hasn't been able to stick anywhere. He played a pretty decent Gambit, but there was something missing: charisma. Peter Capaldi had charisma for days. He has it. The look. That's what carried me through his entire era, was just watching him act in subpar episodes. Some were great. Flatliners, great episode, by the way. Jamie Matheson, man, ooh, that's a good episode. And Mummy on the Orient Express. I think those were like Doctor Who episodes. Mm-hmm. And probably the last two that I saw, there's moments in 10, and I certainly liked Bill more than I like Clara, but I like
Nardole. I like Nardole better than the both of them.
Nardole was okay. I mean, there was times he was funny and good, and times, I just poor Moff. Poor Moff. No, I think Moff bent the knee to the BBC because I think seasons 5 and 6 of Matt Smith are great. I love them. I love them. I'll watch it, and that feels like Doctor Who to me. And half of season 7, right up to the 50th, and then something happened. Clara. But there was an episode Clara was good in it. Doomcock was like, oh, but no, it's like, I love Asylum of the Daleks. I think that's a great episode. And that was a different Clara. And of course, with a really effed up ending, like one of the most effed up endings of any Doctor Who. That was the twist. Somebody gets cut and scissored down into a Dalek. And they're in denial about it. And
that's
great
stuff.
Good storytelling. That's good storytelling.
But that's why Moffat is a great storyteller. I was just like, when he does it, he hits all 4 cylinders.
I mean, you could tell he stayed for season 10 because they needed him to hand it over, and then they talked him into a Christmas episode that he wasn't really into doing, but he did it because he was a trooper. There's part. I mean, somebody what's been making the rounds are these special features from John Pertwee where he's talking about Doctor Who's for everybody. It's a great quote that will, I think, when it hits the States here. And more people see it. Maybe I need to put it in one of my videos to make it, because like what he says is beautiful. It is just beautiful. It is perfect, and it is kind of a to Chris Chibnall too. It's a little smacky to the side of his head without naming him, of course.
Well, it's a testament to anybody who thinks that they have a right to criticize another fan because they may or may not like something. That was one of the episodes that you came up with that I talked about. What makes you a Whovian? Can you like one episode or one doctor of Doctor Who and still be considered a Whovian? And I think we came to the conclusion, listen, a Whovian is, if you like something about Doctor Who, you think you're a Whovian, you're a Whovian.
Yeah.
And that's
gatekeeping in Whovian. Yeah,
you want more Whovians. You don't want to, especially if you don't agree with somebody, you want them to stay to be Whovians. You want them to enjoy the show. I want this show to run past my lifespan.
I do too.
When
there's a segment there's multiple segments and there's multiple layers. But the vast majority of people who are even pissed off about what's going on, they just want Doctor Who to be brought back in the middle. Nobody's asking for all white people to run it and for it to be just a white dude. Nobody that I've seen has said that once. They just want, and this is with all of our franchise right now, it's just like, dude, just stop being so partisan. That's it. I mean, that's it. And then we can work with everything else. Like Jodie's going to be a tough sell for me, especially when you have a Romana out there that you could have done something with. But certainly if it was, like I've said before a million times, if it was written well, I wouldn't have an argument. I'd go, well, I don't like her, but it's written pretty well. That's it. I mean, and nobody's going to listen to that. But they didn't write it well. So.
It's just really just writing that is not a testament to what came before and trying to improve on it and make it better to where a new audience and new generation can appreciate it and still uphold the old audience. What were you saying was the biggest criticism about Star Wars is that they basically dissed everything from the past. So what is everybody looking for when they're going for merchandise? Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Han Solo, Leela. That's like, you can't just disavow what became. And I know you want to try the new generation, but you want to siphon it in the same way that Moffat would bring in the right way, and RTD did the same for the monsters. You can bring in the Ood with the Cybermen. You can bring in the Weeping Angels with the Daleks. You can bring in what was great before and mix it in with the new stuff, and they will gel together if it's good stuff.
But you can't criticize Jodie without acknowledging, in my opinion, especially here, again, this is here in the States, without acknowledging the mistakes made in the Capaldi era, because they are compounded. They definitely, one led to another. One just got drastic, but they were moving forward. Doctor Who was absolutely fine. Even with the criticisms when Matt Smith left, things were fine. There was interest in the show. They had a big special here that they aired live in the States, picking the Doctor. And that was a huge deal. People were talking about it. Then Peter Capaldi got picked and people just went, man, a lot. And listen, I was willing to give him a chance.
They didn't watch the first 7 Doctors.
Yeah, exactly.
Who they were.
That's. I mean, unfortunately, that's how a lot of people in the States felt, and a lot of kids. With him, I wasn't stoked, but I was like willing to give him a chance. I was like, I'll give him a chance. It's like, it's Doctor Who. We do that. That's what we do. And we generally hate him for a little while, then we love him. But it just never happened. And then it got compounded with Jodie, and that's why they maybe felt like they needed to hit the gas and make it for a new era when the show reinvents itself every 3 years. It doesn't need to like wipe everything else from the past, because it does it every 3 years. Pretty much. I mean, it didn't need to do that.
Well, here's something that people, and this is a bit of trivia that I brought up on my show, that people don't realize. In the scene, the witch, I think it was the Witch Hunters, where Jodie's about to get burned at the Witch Finders. Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you for clarifying that, because it's been a long night. The Witchfinders, in the scene where Jodie is about to get burnt to the stake, and she mentions that the little thing, if she was a bloke, this wouldn't be happening to her. Yeah, somebody didn't do their continuity, because if we go back to the Third Doctor and the Damons, what was happening with one cliffhanger that happened with John Pertwee's Doctor?
Yes. And
did anybody remember that? And what was he? He was a guy who was going to be burnt at the stake for being a witch. Because they did that back then, but that's listen, Jodie showing her ankles, she would have been burned, right? I mean, like, they didn't think of it. That's the other thing that and we talked about this on the podcast. If you were going to go female Doctor, then you need to go full in, address every single issue. And they weren't willing to do that. That's why they didn't put any thought into it. And, again, if it's something that they planted seeds for a long time. And I know that's hard to do when you're changing showrunners and stuff. I still would have done it and built up, maybe made, not unlike your build up to the 5th Doctor, do something similar to that, something
that would have made it more canonical instead of more political, we'll just say. But we're going to have to get some super chats here. If you don't want to sit through all of them, I understand that. We don't have a ton. So, I mean, we'll get through them. And you can address any question you want about Star Wars or whatever.
How about this? If anybody wants to address a question to me, I'll answer it.
Just say you want. And by the way, if you want a link to his podcast, it's in the description. Okay. And again, it's a radio show too. I remiss. It's a radio show and a podcast. Big difference there. Big difference. It's legit. I
don't know about that, but okay.
Well, I'm not legit. I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Play button.
You have a YouTube thing.
I'm on the YouTube.
I'm still waiting for my. I'll be happy if I can get past 15 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So.
Put stuff up. You put stuff up though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll direct towards it. Okay. So we were at Sam Whiskey talking about Yvonne Craig. We don't want to start that conversation again. Alan Massey for $10 says congratulations. What Alan Massey is saying congratulations on, I'll reset. I'll try not to spill my cup of coffee here real quick. I got my silver play button from YouTube, which is I'll try not to drop right here. And thanks, YouTube. I read the letter. I made it through without crying. I dare Jeremy to, though. I don't think Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, which
Tardis.
I would take a silver Tardis and be freaking that would be brilliant. No, I want a full scale Tardis. I'm gonna maybe get somebody to build me one someday. Pool of Zenda for £2. Has anyone told a Fredo joke yet? Yes, Rick has. Yes, Rick has Fredo. Thunder Robots for $5. Star Trek 4 by Tarantino with Brad Pitt as Kirk's brother and Margot Robbie as Nurse Chapel or Janice Rand. And congrats on the button. Thunder Robots, sure. I want to see the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek movie out of morbid curiosity, maybe.
Yes.
Whatever. But yes, I want to see it. I want to see this. The DJ D show, my wonderful DJ D show. Good YouTuber there. He's got his own channel. Go check him out. Congratulations, Gary. Nerdrotic channel rocks. Thank you very much, my friend. I greatly appreciate the $2 and thanks for being the wrench and all the shout outs. Definitely go check out his channel, the DJ D show. All Out of Bubblegum for $5. Hello, Gary. I binge watched half of The Boys last night. It was mostly good as far as I can tell. What was this a comic? Yes, it was. The comic was genius. And, again, I'm torn. There's freaking needless decisions they made for the narrative that if I hadn't read the comic, I probably wouldn't have cared. Review will be on the channel. I'm torn on it because there's parts of it that are great, that are utterly great, especially Homelander is pretty great in it. I mean, he's horrible. He's a horrible, horrible person, but he's great in it. Peter Davison, Australian, $5. Cheddar. Get that cheddar. Get that cheddar. Thank you. You Australian minx, you. Say hi to Mom for me.
Really Peter Davison.
Oh, God, no. Well, maybe, no. if he's an Australian version of it, maybe. Technocratic
bad on the right side.
Technocratic concentration camp for $14.99 Australian. Because I am a man, I found walking up carrying Harvey's baby extra weird. It is weird to carry Harvey's baby, but I guess Cthulhu can impregnate men, maybe. I don't know. It's an elder god, so he can do what he wants. Peter Davison, Australian, $5, says more cheddar. I see what you're doing there. Adam Child, hey, Gary, you're awesome. I'm glad you created a place where I can keep my sanity. Thanks for allowing me to be a part of the fandom menace. Dude, you are a member. I don't allow. P.S. I'm glad that YouTube lets you touch everyone. LOL. I know. Thank you. I've been touching everybody appropriatally today, or inappropriately.
We're talking about Yvonne Craig again.
Yes, we are. No, in the letter, it says, hang on, I got to reread this because it's weird. It's something about touching. Each and every person who has subscribed to your channel has been touched by what you created inappropriately. That's what I put. Yes. Yeah. They've been touched.
Nice.
Touched. Yes. It's on very thick paper. I wonder if that's her real signature. Nah, they printed it. She didn't sign it. And she didn't really put her digits either. I was just kidding about that. But you know you want it, Susan. So hey, thank you, Adam Child. And I am not a gatekeeper for the Fandom Menace. If it's just like a Whovian, if you want to be a member of the Fandom Menace, you are a member of the Fandom Menace. And you know what? Some of us might be a little mad at each other at one point, or some of us might not even talk to each other anymore. But we are still united in the principle of respecting the fan and got to keep our eye on the prize. We don't all have to love each other, but we got to remember that the Fandom Menace, we got to remember the Fandom Menace principle. Okay. It doesn't have to be kumbaya between everybody. Certainly it won't be now, unfortunately, but well, I mean, I'm not going to care. That's referring to, you don't have to worry about that. The drama from earlier, it is Ghost after that. Whew. So Blacklist Universe, $5. Capaldi's last season was stupidly political. Neither my daughter and I even wanted to give Nurse Who a chance, and she was a bigger fan than I am. Mike S. Miller, yes, both my kids were done. They got bored with Capaldi. They tried, and I think they were being nice to me. They're like, "Oh, we'll watch it, Dad," and I think they were just like being nice to me because once Jodie was announced, both of them were like, "I'm done." So I don't know how many other kids were for that. I hear all of this data that they're talking about, that so many, young girls got involved at the cost of what? The girls who were watching before, because there's plenty of girls watching before. I would say that a very large portion of the Whovian audience was female already. I don't think they had a problem with that. I don't think that was ever a problem with that show. Not that I noticed here in San Francisco at my viewing parties. I know it's a very small sample size, but it was pretty much half and half. I never know. Never understood that, but Sam Whiskey, $4.99. Is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure the American version of Doctor Who? Well, it might be now. I'm looking forward to the movie.
Yeah, so am
I. Any movie Joe Pesci as Howard the Duck? Modalicious. Sure. That might actually be good. Joe Pesci would probably, and put him in a costume. That'd be terrible. Why not? Cracklin, $4.99. Star Wars idea. The real dark Jedi come from the shadows. Like kill Kylo, or kill Rey, Kylo Ren, and the rebels. They just start the new Sith Empire. New series begins. Yes. You know what? You want to win fans back? That's the way to do it. Just have the dark side come in and wipe everybody out and go, we win. The next chapter. And it's Garrett, 1,000 years later.
Gary, can I show your fans something? Because sure. I want to show them what I do. And this is what I started like 7 years ago. And I had the privilege of going to a preview of Galaxy Edge over at Disney World. And just to show people what I would do. And if you want to ever retcon this, but that's what I do.
That's awesome.
That's what I started doing. I have my own TARDIS that travels, and we went there and we had a blast. But that's on the profile page right now. But I'm sure a lot of fans would have gone.
And that was no, that's awesome, man. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. I'm sorry I missed it at the Comic-Con, but things were crazy. Joel Tamburo, remember all the accomplished sci-fi series and all the accomplished SY series and was a great ratings back. All they accomplished was equaling the ratings from season 8 on a much more favorable night and with a novelty factor. Yeah, and that's absolutely, Joel. They averaged the same as 8 if you take away episodes 1 and 2. That's it. That's all. And here in the States, it was below that. Now that's overnight viewers because we are kind of backwards in how we tabulate ratings here. So I don't know what the streaming number was, but I know BBC America is not doing great along with every other cable package channel. That's why they went to HBO Max, which does have a big number of subscribers. I don't know if it's as big as Netflix as far as digital. It's bigger than Amazon though. automatically. But I've hated them being off Netflix. Doctor Who was great on Netflix, I thought.
Yeah, that's true.
Chimmy Kills for Australian $5. Hey Gary, are you watching Pennyworth? It's brilliant. Definitely the best DC TV series in recent times. I am not. It's good to hear it's good. What's it on? What's Pennyworth on?
Isn't that on the CW?
Is it on the CW?
I thought it was. I could be totally wrong. We got to look that up.
Yeah, right? I have no clue.
I won't watch the other DC show on the CW. That's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Let me find out what it's on. Pennyworth show is on.
I did see the trailer and I started thumbing. I'm like, wait a minute. And then I started looking at your YouTube take on it and everybody else's, and everybody is almost consistent about the same thing. Like, really?
Yeah, it's on the Epix network.
Epic. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's MGM network. Oh yeah, I don't know if I even get that. I'll check it out. I mean, I don't know. I just would love to see a Batman show.
There's I think what's going to happen is with the streaming, you're going to see, like, we're going to go back to the cable channel type deals. There's so many streaming out there. At some point, people are going like, I'm getting tired of paying $2 here, $3 here, $10 here, $5 here. I want a Sling type version or a Spectrum type version of. I want these 50 channels, and this is what I want.
Here's what I think will happen.
I think that's what's going to happen.
I think people are going to start watching YouTube and what's it, Mixer, whatever the MS one where Ninja went to, and Twitter and D Live, and people are just going to go, F it. I'm so sick of news and cable and streaming services. I'd rather watch some moron surrounded by action figures. And I know that's what I don't want to watch me, but I mean, other people, that's what I'd rather do. Scripted stuff, that's great. But that's like, it's like 1 out of 30 is good right now. And it should be more than that, because we're in a boom right now. We're in like a bubble where there's a bunch of investor money and people are taking chances. Instead, they're just making sequels and freaking remaking Home Alone. That should be a sign of the apocalypse, but it's not.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cracklin. By the way, Mark Bosquet for $10. Last name Bousquet. So Mark Bousquet for $10. Have you ever done live action Doctor Who quizzes? That would be fun. I might. Yeah, that would be cool. I will be doing live reviews after every episode, as I've done in the past. When they air, whenever that is. We might be getting a Christmas special or a festive special this year. Maybe not. I don't know. Have you heard anything?
It's on the rumor. I've always argued that they should have a Labor Day special, a 4th of July special, a Memorial Day special, a Thanksgiving special. I was just like, what? You shouldn't be moving the holidays. You should be make Christmas and a New Year's like you did with the End of Time. You know, expand out on it and just have some fun. And a lot of people have been actually giving me a rags on it. I want a Halloween special, but I know that the UK is not big on Halloween.
They're not. They don't trick or treat.
That's what I've been told. Because
what the hell is wrong with you, UK? I will come over and fix that. That's got to be fixed.
It's not from what I understand. It could be different now, but I know a lot of people, especially when I was interviewing some of the celebrities, they said the UK is not as big with Halloween as it is in the States. And I thought, spooky Doctor Who episode, come on, like a Hyde and stuff. Why not? Why not crazy? Just drill it up just a little bit into the spooky level and make it really have some fun.
I hate holidays. I hate people taking off work, because all the holidays, it's always the banks, it's always the schools, and you know. But if we're like, Halloween should be a effing holiday. Period. Like it's. I completely agree with that. But yeah, UK, we're fixing that. We're that.
So there was a petition that's
not having that.
Did you see the petition that came up that Halloween should be the last Saturday of the year? And then people like, no, keep it on the 31st.
Keep it on the 31st. Just make it a day off.
That's have a 31st, but have an observed Halloween day. So it could be that last Saturday, so the kids can go trick or treating and the parents can have off, and then Halloween would be on this day or something like that. I don't know.
San Francisco celebrates it for like a week. Well, every day, pretty much. What am I saying? Sam Whiskey for $4.99. Peter Capaldi acted like Don Quixote instead of Doctor Who. Exterminate, exterminate, exterminate. He acted like Baron Munchausen. Well, I mean, he was a different doctor every time he came back. He was a completely different. It was like we missed 1,000 years and he came back and we're like, did I not read a book or miss an episode or something? Because he's not the same doctor that I remember last season. He did a great job like all 3 times, but there was nothing set because he was that angry doctor in the 8th. And then he was all zowie rock and roll doctor. And then all of a sudden he was like whimsical Matt Smithy kind of. I'm like, what the hell?
Rick and Morty doctor.
Yeah. The Rick and which
I think what happened is here's my take on this. And I had to explain it. I said, when you first saw Capaldi and he was doing that little pose and everything and Stephen Moffat, I think told him, this is the way we want to present the doctor. And this is how it'd be grumpy old doctor. And then when they found out, Peter, it's not working as well as it worked as we thought it was going to do. What do you think? I bet you the next day, Peter Capaldi walked in that outfit that he was wearing in the second series and looking like the grunt. And I'm just like, he's very talented. He's a musician. He's got all this talent. He's I think the only doctor who's an Oscar winner. This guy is very talented. He's been in all these movies and stuff. And I was like, he's beyond talented. And you should have used a lot of that talent putting into the new doctor. Why didn't we?
Because I don't think this is a secret at all. There's just a lot of meddling in the show. There's just a lot of meddling from outside forces, be it political, be it narrative, just a lot. And I think that's what leads to people leaving and people walking in there, loving it and walking out. Running out sometimes going, bye. Although I think Peter was shown the door. That's just me. We have no evidence of that at all.
Yeah.
Other than
I think the same thing, though.
But other than him stating openly, you will have to remove me from this role. I would never want to leave. And then 1 calendar year later, I'm getting old, all that running around. I'm like, what? Something happened. But hey, do you remember them signing Matt Smith to an 8th season? Because I do. I remember them talking about it. They wrote articles on it. And I'm all cool.
And that's probably what happened with Capaldi. I think he got some of the leftovers from Matt Smith and was put into that. But here is what I call the Colin Baker curse. Never, if you're going to take on this role, never say you want to stay for as long as you can. You won't. He wanted to beat Tom Baker's role, and Peter Capaldi said he wanted to go as far as he could, and you ended up with 3 series. So never go into the role saying I want to go. I want to beat the record and stuff. Just don't say anything.
The people will decide how long you stay in the role. And yeah. Every time the people will decide whether the BBC wants to realize that soon enough or not. That's kind of up to them. But there is a very large amount of people who want a change, and there's a very large amount of people who are in denial about that. But when these people have nowhere to go, they find people on YouTube, and you see just look at the traction of what I did. I did a live stream on the Rumor. My average live stream views, like on a freaking great day. I mean, not counting Game of Thrones. We're not going to count Game of Thrones, but my average live stream views got doubled in 24 hours. Doubled. I didn't even do a video on it. If I'd have done a video, it'd probably done gangbusters, but again, I didn't. And the guys who did the video did really well on that. Why? Because because people feel like I'm so done with this, and they're frustrated and they're out. I mean, like this is lost fans. This is something that has to concern the BBC. You've lost people who passionately loved your show and wanted to give you money. And it's something you didn't even want to give lip service to. That's the thing. It's like the fans feel so disrespected right now because they got insulted, and worst off, I mean, not even acknowledged. Like, oh, they're just a small minority. And that's the same exact thing we heard about Star Wars a couple of years ago. It's just a small minority. And look what's happening now. Disney's downgrading everything. They got an empty park. They got a movie that's going to underperform. I guarantee it. They've got toys that are not selling. And if Disney's crumbling, and I said in my video, there's no way Doctor Who and Star Trek can hide it much longer.
If you're going to do something, either if you're going to take over something, either respect what came before or do something completely different.
Yep.
Don't go in there trying to, for a better term, go in there and just drill down in there and say, you know what, we're going to mix it up and everything like that. Who's that guy, that new director for the Thor movie, who's just trolling?
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, here's my take on these things. What does a bully look for? What gives a bully strength? It's attention.
Yep.
And if you give the bully attention, it's just going to come back even harder and harder and harder. And I think you and I can attest to this, is that being in the social medias that we are, when people start trying to be the bully, we just disavow them, just like, okay, whatever. We're not going to acknowledge you anymore. If you don't like us, go away. We're going to do the thing that we do, leave us alone, and go somewhere else.
Yep.
And that's what I want to express to people who think that they can just rewrite history, for a better term. I'm not saying that Jodie can't do a good job, and I'm not saying Chris Chibnall doesn't love Doctor Who. I'm just saying that right now the direction that they're taking it in is not a direction that is going to appease her. And that's the hardest part. They're not going to appease everybody. It's just not going to happen. You're at year 50 something right now, and you have people who grew up in 63 who grew up with William Hartnell. They're still around. And you have people like myself, and I'm sure what I call the PBS creatures. We grew up PBS. We grew up with the Benny Hills, the Monty Pythons, the Dave Allens, and Doctor Who. I'm not asking for you to love me. I'm asking you to respect that I went along this journey way back when. And some people even further than me. Just respect that I was a part of this. And maybe it's not sincere, and maybe you don't care, but just respect what came before, or do something else.
And to me, it's clear Chibnall is probably trying to be nice about this, probably doing the best he can.
Yeah.
And his heart's not in it. And why not throw some politics in with it anyway that are just cringeworthy? Or maybe that's somebody else telling him to do that. But I believe anything these days, considering what we've had admitted from creatives in the last just 24 hours. It wouldn't surprise me. All right, we got a few more here, and then we can let you go. It's been a long one. Hi, Gary. Are you watching? Oh, I already read that. And then we got $4.99 retracted. I'm sorry if I didn't get to it. Sometimes they're timed for some reason, but sorry I didn't get to it. Yeah, that's a lot.
Sorry, keep reading them. Keep reading. Yeah, you got
Sam Whiskey. Sam Whiskey. The thing is, I still get the money. Like, they don't get it back. I mean, they get their state. Yeah, it's weird. No, I wish they would get their money back. I mean, like, if they couldn't get their comment in. So whoever left the $4.99 at 6:58, please put it back in the comments. I will read it. Sam Whiskey $3.99. Is Doctor Who a sexual being? No. No.
And that was actually part of an interview with Tom Baker, where he says the character is asexual.
And the beauty of the Tennant Rose thing was it was the mistake. It was part of that regeneration. Mm-hmm. It was a mistake that he would never repeat again. That's why right afterwards with even with Amy, when she hit a crush, he's like, oh no, oh God, no, and we had the River Song thing, of course, but that was throughout his lives. And River Song, something that started out really great. It kind of went on a little too long. I still like River, but like her towards the end, she got again, they politics within that. Great beginning though. Great beginning. Silence in the Library.
One of my all-time favorites. I think that was the perfect wrap up. If you're going to wrap up River Song, I think Husbands worked very well.
I hated the "Oh, you're a man, you're thinking" lines like that. I'm like, shut up. Yeah, that's. I mean, if it was once, okay, but it was a little too much at the end. I know it's a bit off topic, but any comment on the announced CBS buyout of Viacom? By any chance Paramount is allowed to start producing prime Star Trek? Phoenix 1861 for $4.99. Not off. Anything's on the table, my friend. I don't know enough about that. I spoke to a couple insiders about it today. I think Midnight's Edge is thinking about doing a live stream, and I might join them. That's something we all kind of need to put our heads together in, because honestly, I've heard two very separate things, none of them being good, unfortunately. So the one thing I did hear is a possibility of Kurtzman sticking around because during a merger, they don't want to change anything. And that might explain why they've stuck with him so vehemently, was because of this merger. I've also heard he's done. Everybody's done. And Star Trek is dead. So they're going to like ride this one out and that's it. It's over. It's expensive and so I don't know. I don't freaking know. Usually the fan loses in a situation like this. We got another company getting bigger. I just don't. I know people want it to be the savior. I do too. But usually when companies get bigger, they get less personal. And Star Trek has been less personal already. You know, it sucks. It sucks. I love Star Trek so much. I love it, you know, but it's been in such a bad way, and it can recover. It can recover. Somebody made me laugh. I'd never seen this video. They put it up on my Facebook, but it's a skit. I think it's a Saturday Night Live skit of Patrick Stewart singing country songs.
Yes,
laughing my ass off. God damn, that was beautiful. Holy shit. When he sings Ghost Rider in the Sky.
After everybody, after you're done listening to this, you got to, after the show's over, go up YouTube Patrick Stewart country songs. If you're not laughing your butt off, you're just
not human. I almost geloged my pants. And I didn't know it existed. Fuck, I was laughing my ass off. As a matter of fact, I screen capped one of the looks on one of his faces after he's singing one of these songs, and that's going to be going to be a cover of a video at some point.
I gotta just before you get the next one, because I wanted to address the thing about Rose and the romance and all that stuff. I kind of chalked that up, and we had this discussion before. It said the Doctor has, especially after the Time War, the ultimate PTSD. Remember, this is an alien who has seen his companions die in front of him, has seen worlds be destroyed, has seen galaxies get wiped out, civilizations, genocides. There is nothing that we couldn't even equate what the Doctor has been through, and especially when he has to watch his whole planet go up in flames, and he finds the one thing in his life to say, listen, because we were talking earlier about if you notice in Rose, he goes to 3 events. And we were trying to figure out, why would he go to the 3 events? It was the sinking of the Titanic, Krakatoa erupting, and the assassination of JFK. And the theory was that we came up with, or at least I came up with during the meeting, was I think he was trying to get a handle on the moment because he did not know how to handle it. He just wiped out his people. So he went to certain times where tragedies happen and how everybody reacted, and tried to see how he could cope with what he just did.
I think
that's my theory.
I always thought that he went and saved people because he couldn't save any of his people, so he was doing it therapeutically. Like, I'm going to major disasters and I'm going to save 2 people because I couldn't save a motherfucking one Time Lord. That's the way.
Right. That might be the case, but there were all tragic moments too.
Yeah, they were
going on. And I think, like I said, he has the ultimate she has the ultimate PTSD, which I have not
Is
seen.
There a commentary on that disc? I haven't even looked. I mean, I've watched every special feature, but I haven't. I'll have to check and see if there's a commentary. Everybody's got to be a commentary on Rose. Yeah, I'm gonna look for that. That's a good question. No, I think those are two really good ways to look at it. Maybe both. I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just haven't seen it in Jodie yet. Jodie needs to show me that.
And they definitely weren't throwaway. They weren't like, oh, we'll just have him crack a toy on the Kennedy assassination, blah, blah, blah. No, they were thought about.
Well, no, I meant she's each
I agree
doctor post Eccleston has had that PTSD moment where they put their foot down and go, no, this is where it stops, where it ends. You are not going any further. I'm going to put it down, and shoves it in their face. I'm the doctor. And you've seen those moments. I just haven't seen it with Jodie yet. I would love to see it with Jodie. And I thought I did with Resolution.
Well, it almost happened with Resolution. This is the problem. No, this is the way they have to portray her. This is a BBC edict. Okay, they cannot portray a woman cold. They will not do it because that is the stereo. Listen, I know she doesn't have to be cold. I know that, but they won't portray her. They won't even get close to portraying her like that because that is considered stereotypical patriarchy if they portray her as a cold biatch, which the doctor actually has to be once in a while. But they will not portray her that way because that would be stereotyping by men. So they decided to make her the empathetic doctor. The doctor has moments of it, is not empathetic because he can't relate to human beings. As much as he's been around them, he's a god. He's a god. So he'll get as empathetic as a god can get, kind of like when you're feeling sorry for a puppy. But that's it. So that's I firmly believe that because it would have been very easy. And like Olivia Colman probably would have been a better version of that. But she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it.
She got Academy Awards and making 7 figures now with whatever movie she's making. No, I don't blame her.
Yeah, that's for now though. I don't know. I think if an actor at the end of their life, like I won an Academy Award or I was in a series and I'm known forever. Like, because Academy Award winners, I mean, like I can't even remember who won last year anymore. They're so meaningless. But Doctor Who, you're remembered forever. But I guess if you're just in this to be an actor, and I want my awards for being an actor, I'd like to be working and remembered for the rest of my life. If you're that much of an attention or WH to be an actor, I'd want to be remembered for everything, Jolton Burrow. Hi, about writers. Just look at who are the writers room for STD and Doctor Who, and then do the same for the Orville. The difference is very educational. That's a great. I think you were mentioning that earlier, Joel. Was that you or somebody else? I can't remember. Yes, the writers room for the Orville is far superior to the story group at Star Wars, the writers room at Star Trek, and Doctor Who combined. And this is somebody who used to be maligned in Star Trek, Brandon Braga, who Enterprise is okay. I know the Star Trek fandom has had their issues with him, and I understand that, and you can continue to do so. But with the Orville, he's been brilliant. But that's because he's working with Seth MacFarlane, who's brilliant, and they have a brilliant staff, and they also they're really nice, and they like their fans. And boy, does that make all the difference in the world. Because you can, the Orville sneaks in politics once in a while, but you know what?
I'll give him where it's due. When he messes up, he said, "You know what? I screwed up." I don't see him lashing out at the fans. He goes, "You know what? Yeah, I did screw up." And I'm sure when he went into the Orville, he's going like, "You know what? Everything that I learned from everything that I had, I'm going to make sure the Orville is much better." And he's got Seth MacFarlane to take care of that. I will attest that Orville is more Star Trek than Star Trek right now. I watched 2 episodes of Discovery and I just could not continue. I just had to stop.
It's mean. It's a mean show. I've told the story before, but when I was doing my first review of it, somebody said, "This is a mean show." Am I being mean right now? Because I thought I was giving the show a chance at first. I was very soft on it when it first came out, like the first couple episodes. I was really riding the fence on that baby, but then I let it have it later. But somebody said it's a mean show, and it's always stuck with me. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's like a nasty, mean show that has it out for somebody. It's like, this is Star Trek. What? 2 hands for $10. And this is the last one, Gary. It's possible. It's probably not your style, but please check out Yellowstone. The writing is so far top-notch, great character development, and masculinity is celebrated. Yay! Please give it a shot. I will. I like all things. I like all things if they're good. I'll try anything. Anything. No, but I mean, I mostly like drug deals gone bad and wizards and spaceships and shit. But occasional Western, Taboo. I don't know if you ever heard of a show called Taboo. It's fucking great.
I've heard of it. Is that with
it's so good. Tom
Hardy. Tom Hardy, yeah.
Venom.
I almost said Venom guy.
It looks like that we're only getting that one season, but it has a beginning, middle, and end. It has one of the best casts on television, and it's on Sling, and you would love it. You would love it. Trying to think, does it have any ex-Doctor Who people in it? I think it does. It's got a brother loving a sister, so a little Game of Thrones action going on. But he's a survivor. He used to work for his dad, who was part of the competing against the East India Company. He was on a slave ship. It crashed. He was actually saved by a tribe from the people he was actually plucking from. And this was right before it was illegal in England. And the East India Company was still kind of doing it on the side. And then the War of 1812 just ended, and this guy inherited British Columbia, part of British Columbia. It's just an island, the island out there. And it becomes part of he gets caught in between like the East India Company and the British government and the American government. And it's actually really damn cool show. And it's got a little black magic and stuff. Yeah, I freaking love it. I love it. But all right. So we are at the end. We are at the end, my friends. Christian, let me make sure. Yeah. Okay. So Christian, please plug your when's the next time you're on the air? Plug your channel.
Absolutely. If you want, you can go over to facebook.com, The Traveling Tardis. We plug in we're basically our main flagship is iHeartRadio. You can look up The Legend of the Traveling Tardis. We're on Facebook. The radio show is on iHeart, KryptonRadio.com, iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, everywhere. I mean, just look up The Legend of the Traveling Tardis, Google it, you can pull it up. If you want to talk Doctor Who, and we're different type of radio show, because like Gary mentioned, we actually had an episode on the Valyard. Stuff that I've always wanted to address. This week we talked about Doctor Who cosplay. I actually wasn't hosting. One of my co-hosts, Jessica Womack, had taken over, and it was about Doctor Who cosplay. But we also go into the other subjects that people I don't think really address, like when it became very big with bullying in the Whoniverse. I mean, the things that we were discussing. I mean, stuff like that has been addressed in Doctor Who fandom. And not only just Doctor Who, we do reviews of the show when it's on the air. We've also done reviews of Big Finish, but it's a group of us that love and admire Doctor Who. And I'm going to be a person that says, listen, whatever your love of Doctor Who is, I respect you, and the show will respect you, because all we care about is people loving the greatest show that I think that's on TV right now, that I grew up with when it started in PBS, with this guy with a floppy hat and curly hair and a scarf. Made me want to watch TV and enjoy it. And I hope you guys have the same love that we do for the TV show. No matter who the Doctor is, no matter who's show running, that we have an appreciation and an admiration for this show. And by the way, I'm going to do this. That's our logo if you're trying to find us.
Yep. I put it on the thumbnail too. So when this one's over, no problem. When this one's over, it'll go over in Nerdrotic Live. It'll also be a podcast on iTunes, because I'm on iTunes, but that's because I'm lazy. And So that's what it comes out every Saturday, right? Every Saturday.
The episode drops every Saturday, and Krypton Radio. It's kind of like the way BBC America is now with HBO Max and Doctor Who. It comes on KryptonRadio.com every Saturday morning. Check KryptonRadio.com for times in your location when it drops, and then after which it will it will drop on all the social media platforms, iHeartRadio and iTunes. And if you don't, you can just like us on Facebook, the Legend of the Traveling Tardis radio show page, and you can the episodes will drop links over there every once in a while, so you can check them out for yourselves. But I'm going to tell you this right now to your fans and to everybody: if you have a love for Doctor Who and you have a legitimate thought process as far as criticism or love, we love you guys. We want you to join us because we are open to everything as long as you love the show and respect the people who love it as well. You are welcome here at the Legend of the Traveling Tardis.
Right on. Thanks, man. Bird of Prey 5.
You.
No, you're welcome. Bird of Prey 5 drops in with $2 more. Kapla, my friend. Kapla. Hail Nerdrotic. Another vote to watch Yellowstone. Okay. Well, geez, I'll check it out. Why not? I have to watch Preacher first. And I review The Boys, and I got to get some more people on the show. There's some people I promised to get on the show. I just want to say blatantly, I remember everybody I've invited on the show, and you will get on. If I gave you an invite, you're going to get on. Just don't know when. We'll work it out soon. But there's another Doctor Who person who's going to get out there. And plus, there's people I need to talk to who if they don't want to talk to me back, I wouldn't be surprised because it's taken me so long to Skype a certain ginger out there. I'm sure he hates my guts, but I just get crazy. Like I'm distracted easy, very easily distracted. Like right now I'm on the live stream. My son's cooking like hamburgers out there with like grilled onions. And that's all I can think about right now. It's like a pretty light in front of
No, go for it.
Squirrel. So
we're in Florida, so it's 11 o'clock here. So I'm thinking about
my son's a little chef, so it's like I have my personal chef now. All right, everybody, we'll be back tomorrow for the Nerdrotic Nooner at probably noon tomorrow. We're probably going to do it noon tomorrow since I have a video. It's doing pretty damn well right now. I didn't think it would do that well, but that's great. I do have a Doctor Who video coming out. It's going to be kind of just me talking about all the kerfuffle. I wish I had more to add, but the fact that there's nothing to add, the fact that there's not a word from anybody. I mean, there isn't a frame of anything. I don't know if they're in production. I don't know if they're shooting anymore. It sounds like they shut everything down because it's been silent. Now, it could be completely explainable. I understand that, but it's been eerily silent.
All Doctor Who stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's been eerily silent. Like there's usually something once a month. It's not like the old days where a spoiler would spill or a rumor would spill every couple weeks or so, where you can, Radio Times was pumping them out and, Doctor Who news. And I remember checking websites every day, 5, 6, 7 years ago. There was something to read every day. It's not like that. There's one thing a month, maybe. And this is why you don't take a year break, especially after a season like that. Just ill-advised, but that's Doctor Who right now.
I want to give out a shout out to your regulars I've seen every now and then, but Bostrek, who every episode I love because it's just basically him 10 minutes of ranting and I love it to death. Just him ranting on there. Doomcock. He's a great guy. I love listening to his episodes as well out there. I would love to do this again, and sure. I would love for you to come back on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, and I would love to have like a group session on this one too, if we can.
Most definitely. Oh yeah, we'll do that. Thanks. Here I'm gonna put thanks, Mikey. I forgot.
I hope you guys had a great time.
Yeah, no, I'll talk to Bolstrek. He and I are going to be doing something very soon. We're going to be doing a regular live stream very, very soon, and it'll be Doctor Who themed. So that'll be fun. It'll be the good, the bad, the ugly, and the brilliant of Doctor Who. And there's mostly brilliant. It's still mostly brilliant, but in a bad way lately. So hopefully that'll get fixed. Thanks, Mikey. And thanks, Chris Persia, for your wrench and all the wrenches. DJD show. Thank you, everybody. Matthew Matson, Philip A. Demick. It's good to see you. And so many people. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next time in the next video. Remember, this one's going to be on Nerdrotic Live, but I'll keep it up here for about a half an hour. All right. Bye-bye.